Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Oh, it is Friday. Yes, it is. And it's 2 days before Christmas. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. We are
Happy Kwanzaa, all of that.
Yes, we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. He's Barrett Brooks. I'm Rob Ellis. Gunner off today, celebrating wifey's birthday. Good for Derek and Trish. Enjoy themselves. Hope they're having a great holiday out there. What's up, everybody in the chat section? I see Fitness Rebel. I see Eagles. 0536. I see Big Will. I see Sean Clark. I see Leo. I see Chris. I see D-R-E-R. I see Jeremiah. I see Robert. I see Tyler. What's up, everybody? I see Sweens. I see you guys. Hope you're doing well out there, and I appreciate you hanging out with us on this day. Hopefully you're off. If you're not off, hopefully it's going to be one of those days. I don't know. Barrett and I can't really relate, but from what I hear, you go into the office and everybody's drinking eggnog and you're giving presents and it's fun and it's not real work being done. So I hope you have a chill day out there, everybody. And we will provide you with 3 hours of power, 3 hours of entertainment. How you doing, babe? Everything good?
Everything's real good, man. Everything's done as far as shopping, Christmas list, all that stuff is done.
The hard part.
Yeah, I got to go pick up some lobster tails after work tonight. I'm making lobster macaroni and cheese. So I got to pick that up. And that's the only thing I got to pick up, man, in the stores. And I'm really done. So once I lock it down tonight, I'll go do my job in the pre and post game show. And then after the Eagles victory, go back home and wake up the next day and open up gifts.
There you go, man. That's it.
All planned out.
So I in our area where we live, Barrett's in South Jersey. I'm in Pennsylvania, but we have some really weird weather over the next couple of days. So we're actually getting a little bit of snow right now where I'm at, but it was like early this morning. It was like 55, like really early.
Mm-hmm.
We're going down to 6 degrees by 1 a.m. tonight. That is an unbelievable swing, man. And then into tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be real cold. High tomorrow of 18, 1-8. So bundle up, man. Santa's going to have his long johns on.
Right.
Take care of the folks. That is for sure, man. But yeah, so crazy weather out there, so be careful if you're out there on the roads, no matter where you are. But hopefully you're doing good. And here's the good thing, Barrett. And we've been talking about this all week. As opposed to having to wait till a Monday night, which can be torturous to get that extra day. One less day for this Eagles game is awesome. The fact that the game's tomorrow, we're not usually on the day before a game like that. It's pretty cool,
bro. And then you look at it. Friday is actually the precursor of the ass kicking we're going to give Philadelphia today, man. You know what I'm saying? Today is just a precursor.
Yes.
I'm still hyped, man. I'm so hyped that I'm blue. Look, I'm literally blue right now. I don't know what's going on, man.
By the way, I love your color coordination. I always meant to say this to you. That looks better, actually.
Yeah,
it seriously looks less blue now. Yeah,
and it'll go back. Watch.
So you have your frat brothers, right?
Yeah. Our purple and gold.
Okay. You always color coordinate with the ring.
And the ring too. Yeah.
That's
the gold ring.
Like, how many different rings do you have,
bro? You know what? I got a bunch of them, man. These are great because when I'm on studio or I'm on set, we have these glass tables, and when you put your and it hits it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it used to irritate
They're like
me
silicone,
so much.
the ones you have on, right?
Yeah, these are silicone. So you get I get like a 20 pack for like $17 off.
Is that right?
Yeah, I get
That's
them
cool.
off Amazon. So
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like it, man. All right. So a couple things to dive into. So we got the Eagles. I get today's a flight day. They'll do a little they walk me through it, Barrett, no pun intended. They'll do a walkthrough today.
Yep.
Hop on a flight later this afternoon. get in there, get in their hotel, kind of chill, and then it's on tomorrow, man. So just walk me through what today and tomorrow look like prior to a 4:25 start.
Well, they're probably just getting through with the walkthrough right about now. And they'll jump on a plane. They'll be on a plane probably about 2:30. They'll land in Dallas right around 7 or 8. They'll get to the hotel, check in, and they'll probably have meetings around 8:30, an hour meeting, a pre-meeting, and then they'll go eat, and then it's lights out. You know what I'm saying? Time to go to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's they take a lot of your time when you get there. When you have games like this, they'll want to take a lot of your time. Usually, you get a little more time because you'll leave a little more earlier in the day. But this game is huge, so they're going to try to occupy as much time as they can from the players.
Right.
That way, they go in. I mean, not to say that they won't be focused, but it leaves a lot. It leads a lot to you staying focused. You know what I'm saying? Even though they're not going to have a problem. This is Dallas week. Anytime it's Dallas week, it's just a different mentality, bro.
Well, I think here's the good thing, right? As far as heightened concentration, one, it's Dallas. Enough said. Two, you have a backup quarterback, which I think every player knows. I'm going to raise my game up a level here. I got to be, particularly dialed in. It's not Jalen, and that's not a shot at Gardner Minshew. That's just the way the guys think. Period. When that's the case. Well,
especially from an offensive lineman standpoint, you're going to want to protect him like he's the president. Because right now, this is a game in which you already don't like your opponent. It's already innate in you to go out there and just want to totally dominate. But you just want to give a little more extra. Not to say that you wouldn't give that extra for Jalen Hurts, and you'll probably give just a little more for Jalen Hurts because of all the stuff that Michael Parsons was on. But you're going to give a lot more effort and make sure you finish a lot more plays when blocking for Miles Sanders and make sure you're protecting for Gardner Minshew. So it's he's got a lot to prove, and he's going to have them guys wired up and ready to rock. I mean, just cross your T's, dot your I's. Everything is going to go in there. They're going to be hyper focused on this game.
Yeah, I agree. I hear you with that. All right. So also we have the Sixers hosting the Clippers. And by the way, Todd Archer from ESPN, he is the Cowboys beat writer. He is going to be joining us, and reporter. He's going to join us at 12:30. Flyers lost to the Leafs yesterday afternoon game. Last night, Barrett, let's talk about this for a minute. Last night, Jags and the Jets. Now, the Jags, I love seeing what they're doing. I love what Doug's doing. They're on fire right now. They are now a half game back of the Titans.
Look who's taking a page out of Nick Sirianni's playbook, or Shane Steichen, whoever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You see how much running he did yesterday?
He did. And the misnomer is that Trevor Lawrence is a statue. He's not. He's very mobile.
Very mobile, very athletic quarterback.
Yeah. So, and he looks like it's really starting to click for him, man. Like he's been over about the last 6-7 weeks has been, what they hoped he would be when they drafted him first overall. He's been excellent. Doug's doing a good job. ETN went over 1,000 yards. They already have 1,000. They might have 2,000-yard receivers. I mean, you think about what they were 3-14 last year with, the debacle of Urban Meyer. To potentially get them to maybe a winning record and the playoffs for Doug in his first year is a hell of a job that he's done down there.
Well, he's given them the ability to be themselves, man. I think they said it was like a guy holding a radio going down.
Boombox. Yeah.
I'm like, what is that all about? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we know Doug is a player's coach.
Yep.
But the biggest thing, he's got them guys believing in his culture. He's totally changed the culture. And that's the biggest thing. When you enter into a locker room that with a losing culture, it's hard to get guys out of that. It's hard to get them out of that funk, just like it's hard to get winning teams out of their winning culture. Like even as far as Pittsburgh, I mean, same way. They're not used to this losing culture. This will be the first time that they don't go, they're not above 500 in what? Countless years.
You know right. I mean? Since he's been there.
Yeah. So, and then we talk about here with the gold standard. The gold standard's been handed from Andy to Chip kind of almost screwed it up, but then it then went to it's went to player to player, not just it went to player to player. Saying the players are given that same vibe that they had in 2017 that they had back when those guys were playing in the Super Bowl before. It's just a vibe that they have, vibe that they're going through. And Doug took that same vibe down to Jacksonville, and Nick
Right.
Sirianni just adopted the vibe that the owner left there.
Right, no question about it. All right, then the flip side of that is Zach Wilson's a disaster area. Like I'm telling you, Barrett, he will never suit up for the Jets again, unless White, Strevler, and Flacco all get hurt. They unless there's massive injuries, he will never play for the Jets again. I'm telling you right now.
Did you see how bad that was, man?
It was awful. It was tough to. That game stunk.
It did.
It was. Again, we all watch it. I watch it. You watch it. We love the NFL. We could be real. That game stunk last night.
It was crazy, man. Like Doug at least got his team believing in them going out there and fighting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that from Wilson. Wilson was like, he had a laissez-faire attitude about how he was playing. He was playing horribly, man.
Yep.
Like, they were trying to hype him up a little bit, saying, hey, you don't have a read here, just go for the check down.
Mm-hmm.
When in all actuality, there's a post flag route that was wide open to a tight end. He didn't even look at the tight end. He was wide open. He had beat the linebacker over the top. He had beat him by 5 yards.
Yep.
All he had to do was throw the ball as a boot. All he had to do was throw the ball down the field. He didn't even look at it.
No, it's bad. It's footwork. It's you know what? It's mechanics and it's confidence. His footwork's terrible. I don't know what happened during the reset because he didn't learn anything, or it's just they tried to teach him and he's not capable of it or whatever. Man, this is a classic case. Now I'm not telling you his last year at BYU he didn't have a good year. He did, but it's a classic case of falling in love with a guy who's in shorts and not really digging deep into what's going on here. And also really not vetting him well enough as a leader. It's a mess. And I honestly, man, like I think they'll ride Mike White going forward. And I think Wilson's going to be elsewhere next year. And I don't think it's going to be as a starter either.
How can he can't go out there and demand anything.
No,
he absolutely sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever brings him in is going to bring him in as a project. And I absolutely can see the Eagles bringing him in and try to, resurrect his career. Can you imagine that he comes here?
That's well, if Gardner walks, let's go. Let's paint a best case. Gardner goes out there, plays his Cowboys game, and lights it up. Okay, or plays really well and they win. I don't know, light it up, but it plays really well. Plays like he played against the Jets last year. He was 20 of 25, 2 touchdowns, a 33 passer rating. Let's say he does that. They win. That's on the national stage like that. We know he wants to be a starter. He makes no bones about it. He ends up going somewhere next year where they're willing to give him a chance, right? Let's say that ends up playing that out that way. You're in the market for a backup. Like I don't think they think Ian Book's that guy or anything like that. So that's not crazy. Jets cut him. You can get him on a real cheap deal.
Yep.
And just build him back up.
He has the talent to do it. People are starting to find out he doesn't have a stronger arm than they thought he did. What he did in shorts and those pro days, man. He lit it up, man. But there was no defense out there.
Right.
And that was the big thing. No defense means you're going to look like you're a pro. You're going to look like you can make all the throws. You could tell he just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. They don't believe in him either. You could just see it, Barry. You know it as a player when that's the case. Those guys don't. They like Mike White. They don't like him.
You can see it. You can see the receivers and their demeanor and how they were, how they're approaching. I mean, they were coming back and breaking up plays like they were DBs. Mm-hmm. They played DB more than they played receiver yesterday.
I think Chris is right. Wilson rolls here. Look out, single MILFs. It's on. It is on. Chris is correct. Yeah. But no, you're right. And you even heard it earlier in the year, like Garrett Wilson, when Mike White took over, was like, that dude's my dog. Like right away, it was like, you could tell like he was good. It was so over the top for Mike White. No disrespect to Mike White, but it was so over the top for Mike White. It was kind of like something's going on with the other guy that they're going this hard for Mike White. You just knew it.
Bro, and deservedly so, man. I was looking at just look at the demeanor of the wide receivers, man. And like Corey Davis came back to defend that pass, and he just threw us up like,
he's like, come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
and by the way, Saleh waits way too long to pull the trigger.
Way too long. Excuse me, but who the hell is that quarterback? He's not even on the roster.
Why is Flacco there if you're not going to plug him in?
Right.
Why is he even there?
But he's not even on the depth chart. Like I use our lads a lot for rosters because they have they usually have the guys that are hurt on the roster and who's there. This guy is not even on the roster.
Yeah,
he's not even. I think he might be. He's a practice squad guy. Yeah, he's a practice squad guy.
Yeah, that he got elevated from the practice. So he's bounced around. He was in Arizona. I think he played under Kingsbury at Texas Tech, but he's bounced around. Yeah, my man has bounced around. He was on the Miami practice squad. I think he was with the Ravens on their practice squad, and that's what it came. And at least look, he's not the most talented guy in the world, but he gave him a little juce.
Yeah, he did. And he's got a little moxie about him, man.
Yeah,
got a little moxie, man. He's from South Dakota, actually.
Oh, is that where he's at? Yeah, but it wasn't good, man. And anyway, but so tale of two quarterbacks, and we're going to dive into that a little bit later. That class, that 21 class, because it's an interesting class, Barrett. You have Trevor Lawrence, who looks like he's going to be that guy. You have Wilson, who went right after him at 2. You had the Niners, who traded up for Trey Lance. Who knows what his future is? I don't know where things lie there. And then there's Mac Jones, who's a real sort of question mark right now in New England. So that's an interesting, case study, which we will get into a little bit later. But I don't, I watch. When you're watching that last night, you could just see a guy's kind of like melting, and that's exactly what's going on there.
But I mean, who is he to act like the way he was acting, though? You know what I'm saying? Like he's like ho hum, like oh well. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just like he had attitude, like all right, I'm here, but hey, so what if I stink?
Yeah,
type of attitude.
I don't think he even knows what to do right now. Like I think he's so shell shocked. I'm not making excuses for him. I just think the guy's lost. Like he's gone, man.
Right.
And I don't know if they have anybody that can reel him in at this point. And they're in big trouble, man. They've fallen apart. They've lost 4 in a row.
Yes.
Yeah, they're in big trouble, man.
And
by the way, Jacksonville's getting in the playoffs.
So
Jacksonville is getting in the playoffs. I think Tennessee is
about that.
Headed the wrong way. Yeah,
Tennessee's they're going to lose, man.
Yeah, we're going to do that. By the way, we're going to go through all the big games this weekend, starting with tomorrow's games. Tomorrow's slate is way better than Sunday's. Sunday's a real small slate. There's not much there.
Yeah.
But tomorrow there's way better games. So we will do that. But it is Cowboy Week, and don't want to ignore that. And look, you lived it, man. You played it. We've lived it as fans and media members, but you played in that game, and you touched on it a little bit. But I'd love to hear you expand a little bit more on it. Like you were part of that 1995 "they stopped him again" game, is what I like to call it, where Barry Switzer, I think they were on like their own 34 or something. Barry, it was crazy, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, it amounted to what, 3 times, right? It went. There was it was 3rd down, then the 2-minute warning hit, but they still ran the play, and then there was 4th down, and you guys stopped them every single time.
Yep.
So that was one of so many memorable Cowboys-Eagles games. But walk me through just one in your memories.
You had guys like Kurt Cavea out there playing. We had
William Fuller.
I mean, all these super talented
Romanowski. Yeah.
Willie T. Romanowski. I mean, it was such a talented team, but it was just a bunch of team of guys that you collected together, man. Like we had a guy who was a truck driver making plays. We had a guy they got him out of liquor store. You know what I'm saying? Like seriously, like we were a mix.
That's where I came out of before today's show.
right. So I mean, the talent level. I mean, we had Ricky Waters, Charlie Garner. I mean, my rookie year was incredible because I had such a mix of guys. Like Charlie Garner just came off an injury the year before, comes back. They didn't know what they were going to do, so they bring in Charlie Garner. Ricky Waters from San Fran, he gets here. They go get Kevin Turner from up north. He's with the Patriots. He comes down. He's playing fullback. They got our draft class. Me, Mamula, Bobby Taylor, the first 3 picks in the draft. This is the owner, Jeffrey Lurie. This is his first draft class. I was his first offensive lineman he drafts. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just crazy the amount of talent that we had that just got clumped together. Kurt Cavea was on that team that with the Washington at the time, they were the Redskins, that won a Super Bowl. And I mean, talking about a guy that knew how to play. He and Rollo, Rylan McKenzie. Rylan McKenzie, one of the original Hogs on the team. Guy McIntyre was from the 49ers. He was in that with the immaculate catch or the catch with tight end, in the end zone.
Yeah.
That started off that whole Super Bowl.
Great career. He had a great career.
Oh, yeah. So we just had just a nice group of guys that just, from every aspect of life, man, guys that careers was over. I mean, can you imagine going to get a guy, Ronnie Dixon? He just got off of driving, 14 hours from somewhere. They call him. He leaves the truck down there in Texas. He drove wherever he was. He drove to Texas. He leaves the truck down there in Texas. The company comes to come pick the truck up because he's on the next thing smoking, flying from Dallas back to Philly. Going to Philly to sign a contract to play under Ray Rose. Ray Rose is getting guys from everywhere, man. It was crazy, these guys that we had in that locker room, man. I mean, Michael Zordich. I mean, he looked old back then.
Right.
I mean,
he looked like he was like 45 and he was like 20,
right.
26.
I mean, the roster just was, and then I had, I'm starting because I was supposed to start at guard. I'm supposed to come in and compete at guard, but everything happened with Bernard Williams. Bernard Williams is one of the most gifted athletes I've ever seen in my life. First round tackle from Georgia. This guy could block anybody, man. We used to call him Stretch Armstrong, man, because he could block somebody. A dude will have him beat, knocking him down, and he'd be able to torque his body, bring his body back, and pop right back up in front of him. A phenomenal player, man. And he gets busted. He can't stay off the weed, and they
which now he'd be okay, but back then.
Right. So they suspended him. They cut him, and he was no longer.
He smoked his way out of football.
Right. Yeah. So I'm looking at Art Monk was on that team. Did you know Art Monk was on that team?
Oh my God. I forgot that. I honestly forgot. I remember he was an Eagle at the end, but I forgot that.
Art Monk, let me see a couple of guys we had. Joe Rudolph. He was from Wisconsin. He's actually he was their head coach for a little while, the offensive coordinator. He was on the team. You name it, we had it here, bro. And I was looking at a running back that we had. That he was a return guy. What was his name? A return guy. He actually was one of the better return guys in the league. He returned like a couple punts, a couple kickoffs. Pro Bowl guy, man. And we just had a great mix of guys. And we go out and we're playing this Dallas team. Now I say about all that talent. I'm talking about all that talent, that we're talking about. Yeah. Because it was nothing compared to what Dallas had.
Right.
Dallas's offensive line were all of them were like Pro Bowlers. Yeah. Mark Tuinei, Eric Williams. The list goes on and on. Their offensive line was the best I'd ever seen in my life at the time, bro. And then, they had the running back, Emmitt Smith. Come on, man. Michael Irvin's out there at receiver. Who was it?
Oh God, they had Alvin Harper, they had Michael Irvin, they had Jay Novacek. They had Emmitt Smith. Yeah, the offensive line had Tuinei, Stepkowski, Eric Williams, Larry Allen. That's we're not going to the defensive side of the ball.
All right, that's what I'm saying. They had Charles Haley, Deion Sanders, Darren Wilson. Was it Darren Williams?
Yeah. They had Darren Woodson.
Darren Woodson. I mean, you name it. They were stacked, man. And we go in and they shred us the first game we play them.
Yeah, at their place. Yeah,
at their place, they beat us to death, and then we come back and we beat them in our stadium. And it's like we had 3 games left.
Yeah, it was freezing too, man.
Yeah, when we beat them, we'll be in the playoffs, and we beat them, bro. Yep. It was an amazing time, man. Amazing.
Yeah, and it was just Sil says you played with his boy Stubbs back in the day.
Yeah, Daniel Stubbs. Daniel Stubbs, like he just came off a 40 night every night, man. You know what I'm saying? He just looked like he came out. He just drank a 40, man. Come to practice. He just looked like he just drank a 40, man. Daniel, and he had this voice. Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you
doing? No, but I mean, it was incredible. And then you guys, like with that offensive line, with Emmitt Smith, with all that being said, your defense, bowled up and just held them 3 straight times. And there was it was Switzer at this point. Jimmy had left. But there was such we're the Cowboys sort of arrogance, like we're getting this thing.
Exactly.
If you go back, and it's funny, I was talking to Jeff Kerr this morning. I was on with Jeff for Good Morning NFC East. Jeff does a great job on our JAKIB YouTube channel. But we were talking about this. If you go back and listen to the clip of that, Madden Summerall called it, and Madden was basically like, I can't believe Barry Switzer's doing this. And then after the first time you guys stopped, and he's like, he can't possibly do this again. Like he just kept, like Madden crushed him. He went after him, man. It was pretty fascinating.
Oh man, and then guys like Red Hall and Andy Harmon just bow up, man, just bow up. But here comes Kirk Avea from out of nowhere with Zordich to stop him.
Yeah,
stop him in his tracks, man. I'm like, the arrogance of him thinking he was just going to run the play over again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was the same. That was the other thing. I'm not going to change anything up.
Right,
Same thing.
Nothing. Same formation and everything. He didn't even flip the formation.
I'll tell you, man, like the place, I'm not going to quite compare it to like Jaws. We had Jaws on yesterday. If you missed that interview, it's great. You just go to our JAKIBsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. But we had Jaws on with us yesterday. He said the loudest, he ever remembers was the vet at the NFC Championship game in '81. And he's right. He is right. But a close second was when you guys stuffed them after on fourth down on that play. I'm telling you, man, it was explosive, and I'm sure you can feel it because Barrett, it was a circular stadium.
Yes,
everything stayed in, even though there wasn't a dome on it. It all stayed in, and it was just like, oh, it was almost like this guttural, like, oh.
Bro, I can remember after the game, man, and them after the game with Ray Rhodes, the speech he gave us.
Oh.
Can you imagine the speech he gave us with the arrogance of this MF thought he was going to? It was
how many family members were assaulted? Yeah. They were cats and dogs being assaulted, according to Ray. Yeah, man, unbelievable. Yeah, so that was the all time. And you want to share yours throughout the course of the show in the chat room, your favorite Cowboys Eagles memories. I mean, obviously there's so many of them, but there was the 1981 NFC Championship game. There was the pickle juice game, which really signified the Andy Reid era. When they go into Dallas, it was like Dallas was at the end with Aikman and those guys, and the Eagles were about to ascend with Andy Reid. It's steaming hot, pickle juice. They start the game off with an onside kick, and then they just take the Cowboys apart. And that was I'm telling you, man, it was like a signal, like, all right, there's a new sheriff in town. And the Eagles win that game. There's a bunch of other ones. You brought up one in our pre-show meeting, which is, look, these aren't always good. But there was one in 97 where Ty Detmer makes a late play to Freddie Solomon in Dallas, and the Eagles get in field goal position to win the thing. A freaking perfect snap that the holder and punter, Tommy Hutton, butchers. Like, this was not a bad snap. It was a money snap.
And I'm out there on the field.
Yeah.
And I just know we just kicked the field goal. We're going inside. We win.
Mm-hmm.
And from out of nowhere, he's running. I turn around like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
he's running and tries to. I mean, it's the worst thing ever. And our locker room was right there. Yeah, so we just walked into the locker room, man. It was ridiculous, man. It was
painful.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, there are a lot of good ones, a lot of painful ones, that's for sure. But that was
definitely painful, man.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of this rivalry. All right, let's do this, Barrett. Let's get a timeout, and we come back. Todd Archer, who covers the Cowboys for ESPN. We had Todd on earlier this year when the Eagles and Cowboys played. He was awesome. Can't wait to talk to him again about this matchup. So we'll get a quickie here. We'll come back. We'll talk to Todd. We'll keep it rolling with the Eagles and the NFL talk. We got some Christmas stuff in store for you later, Christmas movies that we're going to dive into, a couple other things. Don't go anywhere. He's Barrett Brooks. I'm Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because finding that right person to trust with your finances can be a very scary proposition. And I was right there with you for a long time, but I found the right person, and it's Jim Murray. He will help you with anything financially that you're not sure about. You could use him as a consult. You can bounce some things off of him. I know personally I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim. He can help you with retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. If you have a small business, you're trying to get your employee benefits off the ground, all those kind of things. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. Or you could email him as well, Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement,
But would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Happy Friday, everybody, and happy holidays to you. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett Brooks, along with Rob Ellis. Real happy to have our next guest on. He does an amazing job, and he has done for a very long time covering the Cowboys. He is the Cowboys ESPN NFL Nation reporter. He's been covering the Cowboys since 1997. He joined us a little bit earlier this season. Todd Archer. Todd, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Happy holidays to you.
You too, guys. Glad to be back. I'm the Tim McManus of the Cowboys. Is how I look at it.
That's high praise right there, man. If that's the case, that's strong
definitely
duo,
high praise. You are that guy. If you're that hot, yo.
Yeah, we love Tim, man. That's awesome, Todd. So a couple things. Let's start with the injury report because I know there's. First off, Micah Parsons is questionable. I know that Sam Williams got into a car accident as well. What can you tell us about what's going on health-wise for the Cowboys?
Yeah, Leighton Vander Esch, they're one of their leading tacklers. He's ruled out of the game from an injury suffered last week against Jacksonville. They expect Micah Parsons to play, had an illness, missed 2 days. Trayvon Diggs popped up on the injury report with an illness. They expect him to play. Sam Williams is a little more up in the air because of the car accident he was in on Thursday. They want to see how he gets through today's practice that they have before they make a determination. Jerry Jones was on the local radio here saying it's more of a concussion deal. So, kind of up in the air. And if he can't go, I wonder if they bring up a guy like Tack McKinley from the practice squad to kind of fill that role to add another pass rusher, a good guy to set the point of attack on the edge. He could be an option if Sam Williams can't play.
Okay. What about Dorrance Armstrong? Is he up?
They expect, he was limited in practice as well with a knee injury, but they expect him to go as well. And obviously a key piece for this defense, second on the team in sacks with 8.
Yep.
And a guy that has, I think he surpassed his career total in sacks this season alone. So if they had signed Randy Gregory like they had planned to, Dorrance Armstrong wouldn't be a Cowboy. I don't know if Randy Gregory has a sack yet this year in Denver because of an injury deal, but Dorrance Armstrong really paid off for the Cowboys. Actually, Dorrance Armstrong probably might have been an Eagle if he didn't stay with the Cowboys after Randy Gregory left.
No kidding. It's funny how stuff works out, isn't it, man? Jeez, there's a lot of regret in Denver, I think. I think in general, that's a whole nother discussion. Todd, so a couple other things to dig in. I'm always curious to get the pulse of what's happening in the other city. We're so caught up in our own fishbowl here, in Philadelphia, and we'll get into Minshew and all that stuff in a second. But coming off a tough loss to the Jags, certainly, it's going to be tough, but the Cowboys would like to get out of that 5 hole that they're in from a seeding standpoint. What's the confidence level, team and sort of city in your estimation?
Well, team and city is probably different, right? Because I think city is more like they've seen this show before. a team that has made the playoffs, but they're not going to do anything. That's the feeling when you're coming off needing a 98-yard drive to beat the Texans, and then you lose a 17-point lead at Jacksonville. Never mind that Jacksonville might be a playoff team in itself.
They're going to,
the way they're going right now. And Houston took Kansas City to overtime last week. So I think there's a prove it to me factor with the city and the Cowboys fans because, again, they've seen this so many times. As far as the team, they do have confidence. You wouldn't expect anything other, right? They believe that they can be a factor and win this game. It would be their third win against a team with double-digit victories this season, Cincinnati and Minnesota. And whether Hurts is playing or not, it would still mean something because if these teams meet in the playoffs in whatever round, they can point to the fact that they have beaten them. If they get swept by them with a backup quarterback, I don't know how you go into that potential playoff matchup feeling very confident that you can do something that you didn't do the first 2 times.
Does this team still hear McCarthy's message? Is he still the guy? Is he still, somebody they're looking up to, or is it, for like outside of Dallas? We're thinking that Sean is going to be the next, head coach. Come up here pretty soon.
No, they're still buying in on Mike, and it's funny, the Sean Payton thing was big at the start of the season, just because. But I don't think Sean Payton, if they were to move on, if Jerry Jones were to move on from Mike McCarthy, I don't think Sean Payton would be the coach. I think it would be Dan Quinn or somebody that we're not even talking about. So,
right.
But again, I don't think Mike McCarthy's going anywhere. Here's a guy that's won 22 games in the last 2 years. The first guy to take them to back-to-back playoff appearances since 1998-99 with the same coach, Chan Gailey. Now, I guess I should say Chan Gailey was fired after that second consecutive playoff appearance. So with Jerry, you never rule anything out. But no, they're buying what Mike is selling. And, I talked to Zach Martin in the locker room about that this week, and he's like, look, here's a guy that's won a Super Bowl. He's been in an NFC title game. He's had this success. You have no choice but to believe in what he says. So they're buying what he's saying.
Todd, I'm curious about Dak Prescott. I mean, you look at his numbers, his general numbers, and, strong considering he only played 9 games, over 2,000 yards, the 17 touchdowns. But there's been a penchant of late to turn the ball over. Certainly, I'm not laying that one in Jacksonville, the last one on him. I thought that should have been caught personally. But the numbers are up. Is there anything – is it just been sort of like fluky stuff, or are you seeing some bad trends there?
A lot of it is tip balls and bad luck. I don't even want to say a lot because that means you're just excusing everything. But some have been tip balls and bad luck, like you mentioned, the pick 6 against the Jaguars at the end of the game. Some of it is decision-making too, right? I mean, I can think of a couple throws in the end zone against Green Bay, first quarter. It's a cloudy situation in coverage. Man, just throw it in the stands, kick your field goal, go up 10-0. You don't know how that game's going to go. Chicago, they have an end of half chance to drive the field. He looks for the shot play on first down, picked off. Chicago scores, makes it a closer game than it needed to be for a longer period of time. Indianapolis, a pick outside where Stephon Gilmore has outside leverage on Michael Gallup. Gallup slips and falls, but he never should have thrown that ball anyway. So some of it is luck, some of it is decision-making, but it's interesting that Dak has said, look, I'm not going to change. I'm going to be aggressive, believe in my guys, and play how I play. In the first, 6 years of Dak's career, he's not had this issue. He's been a guy that is protected the ball, not had turnovers. He has more interceptions this year in half the amount of passes than he had last year. 11 picks. Jeez. Last year had 10 with 596 attempts. So if the Cowboys want to win this week or do anything when it comes to the playoffs, they can't turn the ball over. They know it, but can Dak Prescott stop it?
Well, twofold question. Do you think it's a direct reflection of them letting Amari Cooper go, number one? And number two, is T.Y. Hilton going to be that guy for him going forward?
So here's the weird thing about this offense is since Dak's been back, I think they're number one in the league in scoring points. They're over 30 a game. Last week they scored 34 points. I mean, you should win those games in the NFL if you're scoring that many points. So I don't think I can't say they haven't missed Amari Cooper because he's Amari Cooper and they've not added a replacement for him. But CeeDee Lamb has really delivered as the number one receiver, named to the Pro Bowl this year, has over 1,000 yards, leads the team in catches. He's taken that next step. The Odell dance was fine and funny for a little bit. It kind of got annoying at the end. That's over and done with. But T.Y. Hilton, I expect him to be active this week, and you'll see him probably in a limited role, certain packages, down and distance type things. But he's a guy that's impressed in his 2 weeks that he's been here and how fast he's learned this system.
How go to the other side of the ball here, Todd, and look at the numbers. They're impressive. They're the takeaways. They're right. The Eagles and Cowboys are right there with each other. They will get after the quarterback as well, doing a nice job in terms of points allowed. I mean, you could exclude the pick six touchdown, but it was a little bit of a breakdown last week, allowing the Jags to come back. Where are they defensively in your estimation?
Hurting in a lot of ways. They've lost Anthony Brown to an Achilles injury for the season. He caught a lot of grief around here for not being Trayvon Diggs, right? I mean, it's kind of hard to be the guy who takes the ball away. He did give up some plays, but now you're seeing how steady he was. Yeah, he'd give up some stuff, but he wouldn't give up everything, and that's what you kind of saw last week with Kelvin Joseph. This week, I think you'll see a mix of different corners in there as the Cowboys look to solidify that spot opposite Diggs. I mentioned Van Der Esch is out. Jonathan Hankins, a guy they acquired from the Raiders, the run-stuffing defensive tackle, played really well. He's got a pec strain out until the playoffs. That's going to be a factor, especially this week against the Eagles when they want to run the ball. Maybe it's a blessing for the Cowboys that Hurts isn't in there, and so some of the QB runs aren't the same, obviously, but this is a defense that has 1 sack in the last 2 games. They made their bones on getting big leads and affecting the quarterback. The last 2 games, they've had leads, and they've not been able to affect the quarterbacks against lines like Houston and Jacksonville. Never mind lines like they're going to see on Saturday.
Well, looking at how you guys play defense and understanding that in this Eagles team, what are they saying about, Hurts not being in there, and especially the stuff that you heard from Micah Parsons about Hurts? Well, how was that whole, dynamic?
Yeah, I think there were some guys in the room that said, Micah, why'd you go there? I think they understood his larger point about the Eagles have a really good team, right? Mm-hmm. And Jalen certainly benefits from that the same way that Dak had benefited from that early on in his career by having a really good team around him, especially his rookie season. So I don't think Micah expressed himself the right way on the Vaughn cast and how he wasn't trying to take a shot at Jalen, but it certainly seemed that way. But, they know Minshew. They saw him last year in the finale of the game. Now, that Eagles team, correct me if I'm wrong, the only guy on the line that might have played that day was Kelsey to keep a streak alive.
There wasn't anything to play for. Yeah.
Right. So they didn't play a lot of their guys. And obviously A.J. Brown wasn't on that team too. So, and Devontae Smith got the rookie receiving record maybe.
And then they got him out of there pretty
got him in and got him out,
So they at least have film of him of what in that offense, of what he likes. Now the personnel is different, but they'll feel confident going against him. And again, you take away a big element of that offense when it's not the same QB runs. And I don't think you're going to see the 3rd and 1 line up everybody around the quarterback and do the bush push like they did with Jalen all the time.
Nice reference there, USC Notre Dame back in the day. I like that.
I didn't know what else to call it, so that's what I'm going with.
Yeah. Let me ask you, as we know, look, we saw him at Penn State. We know what he's been in his 2 years as a pro. What's it been like covering Micah Parsons? Like we all, that obviously that podcast lit up Philadelphia when he did that with Von Miller, et cetera. But there was a knock coming out on him, that attitude and et cetera. How's he been in terms of like teammate, citizen, all those kind of things?
Yeah, fine. I don't want to say off the charts, because every young guy has stuff that you're like, really, that's what you're going to do? And he's a maturing guy, but I think like the big fears that people might have had about him, none of that has played true. He's been on the field. You can't hope for anything more than what he's done, right? And off the field, I think there was some worry in the offseason between rookie year and year 2 that he might have been doing too much stuff and enjoying the limelight a little bit too much and doing too many events and too many appearances and things. But, it hasn't appeared to have affected his play. What's affected his play here lately, I think, is he's now basically an every down pass rusher or on the ball linebacker, where last year he was more 50-50 where he's off the ball. With Van Der Esch out, maybe they move him off the ball a little bit more, but he's taken a little bit more of a pounding this year by being on the line as much as he has been, because look, he's a dominant pass rusher. I don't know how you move that guy off that position when he has 13 sacks. So he better get used to it, because it's only going to continue for however long he plays.
Right.
I found it kind of weird that they kept Tyler Smith at left tackle, but then put your all everything left tackle. You move him to the right side, Tyron Smith, and you're alternating with Jason Peters. Is this the ending of his career?
No. Well, they moved Tyron to right tackle because they lost Terrence Steele to a knee injury. So Tyron actually volunteered to say, "Look, I'll move to right tackle for this stretch of the season. That's the best thing for the team." Tyler Smith is playing really well. Don't want to mess up the rookie, so they're moving him over there. And last week they alternated with Jason, your guy, because they didn't want Tyron to come in off of not playing at all and play 70 snaps a game. Now, evidently 1 week is going to be good enough because I think you'll see him I don't think you'll see that rotation with him and Peters this week. But Tyron, he said there's a lot of things that he could do better. And I guess getting reaccustomed to the right tackle spot, hadn't played there since his rookie year. But it is, you look at, there's Zach Martin, there's Tyron Smith, had 16 Pro Bowls on the right side of the Cowboys offensive line. They get some combo blocks with those two guys, and your running game might be able to do some stuff.
Todd, what's your, just looking at from the outside looking in at the Eagles here, obviously the dynamic has changed in a big way without Hurts and being Minshew in there, but overall, what you've seen from the Eagles so far this year?
I mean, it's hard not to be impressed, and they're the best team in football. There's not a stat you can point to and say, well, that's going to get them. I guess run defense can be an issue, right? But
yeah, they tightened it up somewhat, but
and every team has its flaws, right? There's not a perfect team out there, especially this year, and their flaws seem to be more manageable. But everything that they've done for this year and adding the guys that they've added, either in the offseason, A.J. Brown, or during the season, Joseph and Sue, have paid off for them. So, but are they unbeatable? I don't think they're unbeatable. I think a team can beat them. And it's fun, the Cowboys get grief for needing the 98-yard drive to beat Houston. Well, 2 weeks earlier, what was the Eagles drive against
the Colts game? They needed a late drive to beat the Colts. Yeah.
So, there's a little bit of a give and take on that side. So again, they're a really good team, the best team in football, but they're not the 85 Bears where you just knew they were going to win every single game, or even the 07 Patriots where they were just going to out-talent you to win. That's why I think these playoffs are in the NFC for sure are going to be so interesting, because truly anybody can beat anybody. And there might be some people that say San Francisco might be the best team in the NFC right now, and they're on their third quarterback. I wouldn't go there, but there are some that might say that because of how well that defense is playing, what they have as a running game, what they have as the whole unit. I'd still say the Eagles are 1, the Niners are 2, and the Cowboys are 3. But any one of those 3 teams can represent the conference in the Super Bowl.
Speaking of running games, how was Ezekiel Elliott, kind of modified his game with Tony Pollard being the guy now, being the man. And, people outside of Dallas, we thought that should have happened a year and a half ago, but he's definitely stepped in and been, the Pro Bowl guy now. I mean, has he dethroned Zeke now for good?
Well, Zeke is still the quote starter, for whatever that means, and their snaps are closer to 50-50. But Zeke plays an important role in this team because of his short yardage, goal line work. He's still a guy who can get you in the end zone. And he's still a guy, when they get to the tough yards, he's the guy that's going to get him. Now, what Pollard's been able to do is break some stuff and hit the home runs. He has more touchdowns this year than he had in his first 3 seasons. But they have a really good mix going on right now with both of those guys and how they're operating. Pollard's 31 yards away from 1,000. Zeke, if he hadn't missed those 2 games, he'd be on pace for 1,000. This is a team that still needs to be defined by its running game. It's switched a little bit between how they go about it with Pollard and Zeke, but they're not going to become a Pollard-heavy team at the expense of Zeke, and they're not going to become a Zeke-heavy team at the expense of Pollard. They want to get both of those guys as many touches as they can, and you've seen that last week for sure might have been the most they were on the field together. So there are opportunities to get both those guys the ball when they're out there together, and certainly Pollard can do stuff lined up out wide in the slot, things like that. But he's changed the dynamic of the run game, and he makes life a little bit easier for the offensive linemen, because if they get a little crease, he's gone.
Todd, because it's Minshew and not Hurts, has the pressure sort of shifted even more on the Cowboys in this game? I mean, I know the Eagles are in a good position because they can afford. Look, they don't want to lose. They'd rather wrap it up, but they can afford to lose and they'd still get the number 1 seed in that sense. But even more so because there's a backup quarterback playing for the Birds.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it ultimately puts the Cowboys in a no-win situation, honestly, right? If they win the game, what's everybody going to say? Well, Hurts didn't play. You should have won the game. Right. And if they lose with Minshew as a quarterback, it's like you can't even beat the backup quarterback, same old Cowboys. So that's kind of what they're operating under from the outside narrative. But I think from the inside, there's a healthy respect for that entire team of what they can do because they've played against Fletcher Cox since the 1980s, right? He's been there that long, I think. I mean, they've gone against.
He played before Barrett played,
right? Yeah. I mean, he was around with the Vermeil era, wasn't he? I mean, he's been there forever.
He was in the '81 championship game.
Yeah, and they know Bradbury and Slay, and certainly McCarthy's got a history with Slay from his time in Detroit and Green Bay and all that stuff. So they know this is still a really good team, whether Hurts is the quarterback or not. I mean, I guess I would say it this way. Are the Eagles still a playoff team if Jalen Hurts doesn't play? Like if he's not their quarterback, I'd make the argument that they're still a playoff team.
It's a great point. It's a
really
great.
Not 13-1.
No, they're probably they're like the Giants, Washington, sort of in that mix down there at the bottom.
And maybe even better than those guys because of what else is around them. You know, the Giants don't have any really receivers. Washington's quarterback play, he's done a great. But I think Minshew. If you were starting a team, would you go with Minshew or
we were talking about this earlier, Todd. I'd be curious what your opinion is. If he comes out and has a pretty good game and the Eagles win this thing, he's a free agent. He wants to start. He's made no bones about it. He could get himself a job with a pretty good performance, I think, maybe somewhere next year.
Well, look at Cooper Rush and the Cowboys, right? He went 4-1 this year, and he's a free agent as well. Now, his 4-1 and what Minshew's 4-1 might look a little bit different because Cooper's numbers weren't great. He did an excellent job of minimizing mistakes, except for the Philly game, and answering when the Cowboys needed to answer. But he did enough to help himself at least have a decade-long career as a backup here in the NFL. So, yeah, I mean, if he lights it up, do they keep him in? And the Eagles win, do they keep him in for another week and say, hey, take your time there, Jalen, we're good?
Yeah, it's a great point because we have this debate all the time about rest versus rust. And if they decided to go the rest of the way in the regular season, it would be 5 weeks between live, bullets here for Jalen Hurts. That's a long time off, man.
That is a long time off, and that the Cowboys have dealt with that before. 2007, they had home field advantage. 2016, they had home field advantage where they played or didn't play their guys. And I think you need to play your guys because that team coming in with the divisional round win has some momentum. And if you have a quarterback that hadn't played in 5 weeks, that's an awful long time. I think that rust builds up.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of quarterback, Dak, and he came out and said something that kind of caught us off guard up on our market, as far as what our media is saying that in so many words, we're not really worried about what they have going on. We need to take care of ourselves. I mean, how did you guys approach that when you asked them about it?
Well, I think that's kind of the default answer for around here for a lot of years, that it's about them. It's not about the other team. And, I don't think Dak was trying to dismiss the Eagles when he was saying that. I think he was more about, we need to worry about what we're about, not so much what the Eagles are about, because they know, again, they're going to affect the quarterback with all, Reddick and Graham and all these guys that they can bring to the quarterback. He knows the back end is talented as well. He's going to be confident in his guys that if they get it right, that they're going to win this game. And then, and mostly, at least in the NFC East, Dak's been right. I mean, he's 26-6 in the division. He's not lost a division game since, I think, the Eagles in 2019. So, this is these are the fun games, right? I mean, even if Hurts isn't
what it's all about.
These are still the fun games that you're actually looking forward to going to the stadium. Going to the stadium a couple weeks ago when they played the Texans, I was like, hey, gosh, who cares about this one? But I'll get there a little bit earlier on Saturday.
Yeah. If you can't get up for this, man,
this is what it's all about. As a player, man, I live for watching these Dallas games, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I live for playing them, bro. I mean, I'm ready right now. I want to play right now.
Todd, he has been. We've had the comment.
You got any snaps left in you?
Yeah. No, but I would think I would. I mentally, I'd be out there. I'm all the way with him.
Mind is willing, the body's not. Is that what right? Nothing like that. Todd, last one from me. Do we we make on the outside, I mean, do we make too much of the sort of like Jerry distractions and all that other stuff? Like we always look at it, we're like, man, he's saying this again and that. Is the team kind of oblivious to that stuff at this point?
Yeah, I believe so. And Dak has made reference to that when we've asked him about the Odell stuff that kept carrying on and carrying on. He's like, well, that's Jerry, right? I mean, I think these guys know how to compartmentalize, and you have to, especially when you play here, especially when it's Jerry, because he's so available and accessible to us and on the local radio twice a week, that he's going to say, and available to us almost after every game, that he's going to say some things that you just have to deal with, and you can't let it affect you. Now, there are times where I know coaches in the past, it was like, why would he do that? All he's doing is bringing more attention. We don't need to have that situation. It just adds more stress, and it's unnecessary. But Jerry's going to market, and Jerry's going to sell. And, he's only now just finally realizing that the Odell thing isn't going to happen. And it probably was never going to happen because he was not going to be healthy enough to play at the Odell level until maybe an NFC title game or a Super Bowl. So this is a team that hadn't been to an NFC title game since 95. Mm-hmm. So you're putting a lot of hopes and prayers and a dream that he finally moved on from. But I think these guys are pretty well hardened to Jerry's going to Jerry, and you just have to deal with it and not let it affect you.
Love it. Todd, last prediction. What do you think happens tomorrow?
I think the Cowboys win this one in part because of what I talked about earlier, Dak's success against the NFC East. It is at home. And, this is still meaningful for the Cowboys. They can have their third win against a team with 10-plus wins. We've always talked about them beating teams. Or they never beat the teams that you don't expect them to win. And even if Hurts doesn't play, that doesn't matter. It's still a 13-1 team. But then you'd have the biggest road win at Minnesota, a win earlier this year against Cincinnati. So that would get them back on track to think, okay, they might have something here when the playoffs start. So I think the Cowboys win a close one. I don't know what the line is on that. I'm not good at that stuff. It's
moved a ton. It's like 4.5. It's been all over the place from before.
So let's say it's 4.5.
Cowboys 4.5. Yeah.
Cowboys by 3. So the Eagles cover.
Todd, I liked you till you said that, man.
I got them covering. What do you want?
Yeah, you can make some money, Barrett. I mean, come on.
No. I mean, this is Gardner Minshew's playing for a contract, man. He's interviewing in front of 31 other teams. It's going to be a tough one on your Cowboys, man. Tough one.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, though.
It could be high scoring. It could be 37. Let's see, 37-34.
Like it. Todd, we love your work, man.
Appreciate
it, man. And we always appreciate when you hop on with us, man. Thanks a lot, bro. For all the information. All right, you got it. That is Todd Archer. Todd, you can check him out on Twitter at Todd Archer. He is the ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Cowboys, and he's been doing so since 1997. Good dude, man. Todd is a good dude. He's got good information here. I think he's a very level-headed, objective guy. Like, he's not some homer, tooting the Cowboys horn. He does,
Rob, I am a homer. We're gonna whoop their ass. Period.
I like it. All right, I like it. Hey, let's do this. We're gonna come back, and I want to dig into. I went through some Eagles numbers, which I think you'll enjoy. All right, and just I want to soak it in, Barrett. I want to marinate like Gunnar would with his ribs, and and some of the stuff they puts on some of these numbers, because I think sometimes we're getting to the point now where we're getting a little spoiled and glossing over them. But the numbers this year for the Eagles, both individually and as a team, are ridiculous. So we're going to dive into that when we get back. A little bit later, we'll go into the Jalen Hurts MVP candidacy and how much missing this game will hurt him, could hurt him in your estimation. We'll have our NFL segment where we're going to look at the power rankings for the NFL and the Week 16 previews. A little later, Barrett, favorite Christmas movies. Okay, we will dive into that as well. We'll do all those kind of things. Don't go anywhere. He's Barrett. I'm Rob. Gunner off today. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I want to tell you about the good folks at Pro Action Restoration. Yeah, my boy Barrett called me up, said, man, I got a property. I need these guys to come take a look. All right, you got it. Boom, it's done. And they're there. Again, if you have a home, you have a business, you have a property, you've gone through some water, fire, smoke, mold damage, whatever the case may be, or if you're not really sure what you're looking at, if you're just moving into a place, give them a call. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week, which means if something bad goes down, at an inconvenient time, overnight, weekend, whatever, they're there to help you at any time. They are ready to roll. I've gone through it on a Saturday. They got over to my parents' house and they took care of business, man. They were amazing. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured, and they've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. ProAction will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So any of the above, water, fire, smoke, mold damage, anything that you can think of, or if you're not really sure, just give them a call. They can handle it. 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We're back. Yeah, we are. We're Sports Day. Tell a friend, please. JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's hit that like button too. Let's go out strong leading into the holidays. Derek off today. Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis hanging out with you. Barrett, by the way, the Eagles Christmas album that they put out continues to just destroy. I mean, they didn't have enough copies to sell.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. It's just blowing up. And we know this. Like, Mailata can really sing.
Yes, he's definitely talented. He might have missed his calling and just being a singer. You know,
I don't know. I think he's doing all right financially,
bro.
You know what I mean?
You say that until you have to wake up the next day from getting your head kicked in for 3.5 hours.
Fair. That's fair. At least he's being decently compensated.
Right. I wasn't decently compensated, so I'm hating.
I know you are hating a little bit. It's called a Philly Special Christmas, and it's the offensive lineman. It's Mailata, it's Kelsey, it's Lane. Did they get Dickerson involved? Or Samalo.
A bunch of them are there, man. You got Jalen Hurts sings on it a little bit.
Okay.
AJ Brown.
So they involved other guys besides just the offensive line.
Other guys, yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's available. You could get it streaming now if you want to check it out. It's really good. I'll tell you, Kelsey's not what you would call like a traditional great singer, but he'll go for it. He's not afraid to go for it, man.
Hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't shoot. Well, he missed out on singing, and he definitely should stay missing out on singing.
You're suggesting Jason doesn't take those shots? Is that what you're
right?
saying?
Sometimes it's not bad. Sometimes it's not bad to miss, bro.
I hear you. All right, so a couple things I wanted to throw at you. You realize if the Eagles win the 14th game, that's the most they will have won. If they're able to do that, pull that off, they're sitting here at 13-1. Wow. Pretty cool, right?
Yep.
Most of franchise history, right? So that's one. Couple other things.
No, you just did it. You just rolled by that. Think of how that's a great thing to talk about. I mean, this team is about to be on the cusp, and they are going to win their 14th game.
Right.
They are about to win the most in franchise history. That's incredible, man. This team is that good. They've only lost one game, and they were actually a fumble and 2 fumbles away from being undefeated right now.
So, well, all right, let's look at that, Barrett. Let's look at what they've done, okay? And granted, some people will poo-poo the schedule, whatever. I think it's very selective, reasoning that a lot of people have. Anyway, that Detroit game all of a sudden is looking like a much better win, right? That they won to start the season because Detroit may get into the playoffs.
Absolutely.
They're 7-7 now. Minnesota, is an 11-3 team. That's a good win. Washington is a team that's over 500. Jacksonville now all of a sudden might be a playoff team and might be over 500. They beat Dallas,
exactly,
who was an over 500 team. They Green Bay, who I don't know what's going to happen with Green Bay. We'll see. Maybe they'll be a playoff team, but I don't know. I don't know how much of a case I can make there. But they beat the Giants, who are 1 win away from being a playoff team. Well, they'll play them again in a game that probably won't mean anything. And they beat Chicago. But regardless, it's so hard not to slip up in this league. And it was really only one game, and there was a lot of weird stuff that even happened in that game. This is the most focused team in football.
There's no question.
I think we can say that. Yeah.
And when we played a lot of these teams, like they thought that, all right, Jacksonville is a damn good team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's turned out that they are going to make it to the play. I think they will beat up on the Titans. The Texans are a lot better, even though their record doesn't depict it. They were starting to get better, hit their stride when they started playing us. When they played us, they started hitting their stride and they said, all right, if we can compete with the Eagles, we compete with a lot of teams. And they are competing now a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts, I think we just sleptwalked through that game. You know what I mean? We just sleptwalked through that game. But then the Packers, we just utterly destroyed them.
That game wasn't even as close as the score.
Yeah, Titans utterly destroyed them. Giants destroyed them. We should have destroyed the Eagles. And I think, just once again, I'm going to say that this game plan wasn't necessarily the game plan we should have used going into. We should have
You talking about the Bears?
I mean, the Bears, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
We should have just handed the ball off a lot more, man. We should have.
Yeah, that's the one. If there's one game I can really dig in and say you kind of just got away from yourself, it's that game.
And I'm not even talking about the injury to Hurts. I'm not even talking about
No, just long before that, just getting Sanders more involved, etc. Yeah, I agree.
We just now find out he's a Pro Bowl running back.
1,000-yard runner.
So that he should have had the ball more. Anytime you have 1,000-yard running back, you need to use him a lot more than what you're using him.
Right, no question. And with all that said, they did still survive it, right? And this is what I love. When it comes to Jalen, people will look at that game and say, "Oh man, he had a really down game." And I know he had 2 interceptions.
He did not have a day.
Well, no, right. Yeah. So this is my counter is he had 1 interception that was his fault. Okay, the other one should have been. Quez Watkins is driving me crazy, but that's a different discussion for a different time. He still throws for 15 yards. He still scores 3 touchdowns and gets a 2-point conversion with his legs. That's a darn good game, man. Despite he overcame it not starting well is really what it could amount to. It was a slow start game is all it was.
Right. And he can't be perfect all the time, even though we've grown to expect him to be that way.
Yeah,
he has been that way for so long that it's hard to find kinks in his armor. Mm-hmm. Like when we're criticizing the run game, we're not criticizing necessarily him. We're criticizing Shane Steichen and Sirianni for not stopping and put him out of harm's way by just handing the ball off. We don't have to be running those read options and then those RPOs. And you know, maybe we just call a 15 slant. Maybe we just call a 19 bob. Maybe just call jab 32. Just straight run plays. He just hands them off. You know, especially with the running back that we have. You know, just start running it up the middle. You know, so that's the only thing I'm saying.
Which is likely the stuff we're going to see tomorrow. You would think, right?
Yes.
That kind of thing. You know, for sure. All right, so there's that. There's the fact that of their first 14, they've won 13. Incredible. You know, 55 sacks from 29 last year. You've shattered this thing. And, you know, and the club record is 62, which, you know, they may or may not get. Like, I think they're going to get it. The only way they wouldn't is if they're totally gas off the pedal, you know, last 2 games. We don't want to get anybody hurt is the only way it doesn't happen. If not, they're going to have more sacks than any of those buddy teams, you know, that we talk about all the time, any of Jim Johnson's teams that we talk about all the time in terms of like uber aggressive and, you know, great players like Reggie White and Clyde Simmons and all, and Hugh, our buddy Hugh, et cetera. I mean, that in and of itself. And, you know, a lot of that is bringing in Hassan Reddick. A lot of that is, you know, bringing in a couple years back, Javon Hargrave, Josh Sweat developing, you know, that's a number. And they're first in the NFL. It's the ultimate correction, you know, to what something that needed to be fixed and corrected in a big way.
Exactly. You know, and I doubt seriously you're going to get that out of this Eagles defense. I think they're going to continue to do it, and it's not going to be Gannon calling be more aggressive. It's going to be more so guys like BG that are playing for contracts, playing for money. They're going to go out there and still do it. You got Hassan Reddick wants to prove that he's one of the best defensive players in the league. He's going to go out there and play, you know, lights out because, I mean, he doesn't feel as though there's anything different from Micah Parsons' game to his game. He's playing at just a high level as Micah Parsons is. That's why you're going to see a special game out of him. You know, he wants to show. You know, there's a lot of guys with chips on their shoulders right now that have a lot to do with the way this team is going to go out and play on Saturday. You know, there's a lot of ill will between a lot of guys and this Dallas team and how people think about this team. I cannot believe all the metrics and everything that, you know, that ESPN has saying that Dallas team is a better team than this Eagles team. Come on. I mean, the disrespect is unreal, man. It's unreal. And I'm tired of talking about it, man. I can't wait till we go out there and beat that ass, man. I'm serious, man.
I love, dude, you have been zoned in all week. It's been phenomenal. I love it. You know, I eat it up. I love every second of it. And I know it's genuine too. I know it's not just made up. All right, let's go to this one. Takeaways. How about 25? 25 on the season. It's second. Eagles and Cowboys are neck and neck. It kind of goes back and forth every week. Cowboys are slightly ahead of them right now. But 25 takeaways for the Eagles. I mean, do you know the first thing a coach preaches is ball security or take the ball away. And it's another thing they weren't good at last year, Barrett. And they've become arguably the best, if not, you know, neck and neck with the Cowboys, the best in football this year.
It is preached so much to this Eagles team, that these Eagles defenders, they're always trying to strip sack. They're always trying to create plays, get the ball in the air to create, you know, problems for offensive players. I mean, it's definitely ingrained in them because they're always trying to do it. And what makes this team a lot more aggressive is not necessarily play calling, but it's them going out and trying to will this game themselves. They're not playing outside of the scheme, but they understand how special they could be, so they're playing accordingly. And that's why they're trying to rip the ball out. That's why they're trying to make these plays. It's crazy, you know, when you sit back and think about a guy like Slay saying, "Oh, he's never got a INT from the GOAT," and here 2 younger guys get an INT from the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
He wasn't afraid to say how ticked off he was about it.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Just little things like that, the competitive nature. They each go out, you know, especially in that secondary, and I saw it firsthand. I did a charity based softball game for Smitty,
right? And
I was actually the only veteran player there. I mean, you know, retired player there.
That's an honor that they asked you to do it, man.
Right. I'm there and just listening to how they talk to each other. You know, the competitive nature with Avonte Maddox and Slade were going back and forth. Like, I mean, back and forth, like, you know, you did in the Sandlot. Oh man, I'm gonna have more interceptions than you. Oh no, you can't outplay. I mean, it's going back and forth. Even in softball, it went back and forth. That's how competitive they are. So they're all challenging each other, trying to reach the apex of their game and pulling each other up while they're doing it, because one guy's trying to be better than this guy, and this guy's trying to be better than that guy. I mean, that's how you become a competitive team. That's what you become a great team. I can remember all the time, Deshae Towns is always talking stuff to the other DBs, Troy Polamalu, all those guys, Chris Hope, all these guys were just, so competitive with each other. It made them great. Ike Taylor, oh no, you ain't gonna outplay me, Shay. Oh, okay. I got you, Ike. I got you this play. And after a while, it starts breeding into those guys becoming so competitive that it goes on the field and spills on the field. And now these guys are going at it, and they're, making themselves better while they're doing it.
Yeah. All right. So that's another one. Let's go to this one. And this really sort of ties in directly with it, but nonetheless, worthy of pointing out. They're plus 12 turnover differential, which is the best in the league. I mean, so you talk about number 1 in sacks, number 2 in takeaways by 1, I think. First in turnover differential. Again, all these key metrics, and they're a team that doesn't give up a lot of sacks, that doesn't give the ball away, obviously, when you have the best, the turnover differential. So they've done an amazing job taking care of it and taking it from the opponent. And one of the reasons, again, this is how you become 13-1. It's not one little thing; it's a lot of things. The million little things.
The turnover margin is incredible, man. And even with the 2 interceptions in this game, they're still tops in the league.
Yeah.
And when you don't turn the ball over, you win. I mean, that's the only way you can think about it. When you keep the ball and you don't give it away, you win games. And that's one of Jaws' biggest pet peeves. He always talks about it. Ball security.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the ball. As long as you have the ball, you don't give it up, you're cool, you're good. And that's what's working for this team, man. They're so talented in all these positions, but you can be really talented but not play well together.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, you look at the Rams defense. The Rams defense is talented, but are they at this point playing that way? No.
Right.
No. So it's crazy, man. I love how talented this team is, man. But the way they work together, they vibe together, is why they're so good.
All right, let me give you some individual stuff here. You right now have 2 players with double-digit sacks. Very likely you could get to 4, and that'd be the first time ever in franchise history. We know Reddick's already there. We know Hargrave's already there. Sweat sits at 9.5. He only needs a half sack. Brandon Graham needs a sack and a half to get there. First, again, with the history of the pass rushers on this team, for this team to potentially be the first team to ever get there is pretty wild, man.
Exactly. I think the Sweat will have it next week.
I think he gets at least a half of one this week.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow.
I mean, that's what I mean. Tomorrow. I'm sorry. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think he'll have one tomorrow. BG at least have one, but he'll have 10 before the season. And is that for the entire NFL, or is it just for the Eagles? I think it's the entire NFL, right? To have 4 guys at double-digit sacks.
I don't. Yeah. I don't know. I know Eagles. Maybe I have to check that. Maybe it is NFL history too. I don't know. Yeah.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
Have 4 guys with double-digit sacks. We couldn't even get one for the past 5 years.
29 last year. 29, man, and they're at 55. It's crazy.
Oh, man.
All right, let's go to the offensive side. You already have A.J. Brown with 1,000. You got Devontae with 901. So, again, likely, unless they just call the dogs off at the end of the year, you're going to have 2,000-yard receivers. You could have had maybe 3, maybe with Goddard. It would have been
Goddard, yeah.
Tight. He missed too much time. But he's playing this week. But that tells you, this is not just the running team that we were told that they were going into the season.
It's almost like it's not enough footballs to go around.
Yeah.
That's how you can look at it. There's not enough footballs to go around. And as a defensive coordinator, how do you approach that? That's what I think of it. How do you approach stopping this Eagles team?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're going to divest all your resources to stop the run. All right, you're going to keep 8 guys in a box. That means you can't double team either one of the guys outside. So Smitty's going to have at least a one-on-one block, one-on-one coverage, or AJ's going to have one-on-one coverage. One of those two is going to have one-on-one coverage. And I know for a fact that they can beat whoever's if they goes 1-on-1. So you pick who you want. You want AJ or do you want Smitty? Or now you got Goddard back. Or are you going to let Goddard sit around in the middle of the field and keep getting chunk yardage every time he catches it? He might catch it for a 3-yard route, and he makes it 15 yards just from his athletic talent, the way he runs over people and finishes plays.
I'm fascinated to see what he's going to look like this week. I know there's potentially a rust factor, but it feels like he has such a good connection with Minshew. And you pointed out all the time, the tight end is always the quarterback's best friend.
Absolutely.
Goddard could be a huge factor in this game potentially.
Well, I mean, remember the last time those two played together?
Yeah.
Starting. He had 100 yards.
2 touchdowns.
I mean, look at the chemistry those two had together. I mean, there were times that he pushed out of the pocket and boom, who's sitting right there ready to save him? Dallas Goedert. So, yeah, you have – and now they have the ability to run 12 personnel again.
Mm-hmm.
12 personnel forces the defense to put an extra guy in the box because you're forced to stop the run. If you have 12 people, that's the worst thing you can do to a defense. You really demoralize a defense by running on them. You ask any defender, you can ask Seth Joyner, you can ask anybody, Hassan Reddick, ask anybody. How do you just like totally just intimidate a defense? Is to run the ball on them and they can't stop it. That's the worst thing in the world you can do to a defense because you can't stop the bleeding. You just steady handing it off. I can remember, man, being on teams where we ran the ball. We didn't care what it was, who it was, or how they were trying to stop it. We would just punish people, them. And after the games, man, they wasn't no shaking hands or anything. They would just walk off the field. We just totally demoralized them, man.
Yeah, that's
just
awesome.
walk off the field, man. And that's what this Eagles team can do. I mean, look at the left side. You got 360 and 370, 6'8", 6'6", coming off the rock. Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata. Can you imagine them double team? I don't care who it is. You double team them two.
Yeah.
Get up on the back. Man, that's almost unfair. That's unfair, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you. 1,000-yard rusher, which again, this will be the first time in Miles Sanders' career that he's going over the 1,000-yard mark. So you're, also capable of hurting you that way. And this goes back to the, pick your poison. Do you go after Devontae? Do you go after AJ Brown? Do you go after Dallas Goedert? Do you go after Miles Sanders? Do you go after whoever's playing quarterback?
He's been underused.
Yeah, underused. He could be 1,200, 1,300 right now.
Easy.
Really could. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah,
he has been undervalued. Well, not really. No, he hasn't been undervalued, but he's been underused because his value, even in him being out there, makes the defense, make sure they know where he is. They make sure they know where he is. So yes, they don't undervalue him, but they don't use him enough. They definitely don't use him enough.
Yeah, and look, I think ultimately is the Eagles' core belief to throw the ball to win in the NFL? Yes, I do. Yes. I think they believe that. I think they did what they had to do last year. I think this year has been a nice hybrid of Sanders runs, Hurts runs, mixed in with a really good passing game. I really honestly think they're getting the best of all worlds, this year with what they're able to do. Like they're still hold true to what they believe ultimately, but they're still able to run the ball when they have to run it, and they have the most effective QB sneak in football with Hurts.
It's like taking candy from a baby, man. Like, how many times have you turned around and been like, all right, they really went for third and QB sneak for 3rd and 4.
They do it all the time. Like they did it. God, it was the game before. It was the game before. It was the Giants game, right? I mean, we went for a 4th and 7 in the first quarter, and then they just ran him out of the building after that. But it's not. There's just ultimate confidence. Now, I don't know. Will they stay as aggressive on 4th down with Minshew as opposed to Jalen Hurts? I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah, which is okay. I mean, you trust your defense enough that you don't have to.
Right.
If that's the case. All right, so let's go to that. Now, Jalen Hurts, 35 touchdowns through 14 games. Had he stayed healthy, that number's probably in the 40s, all things considered, all things combined. 22 throwing, 13 rushing. He can hurt you a number of different ways. If you look at his passing statistics, as far as in the air, passing numbers, 3,472, 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, so 104.6 passer rating, 67 completion percentage. On the ground, 747, and 13 touchdowns. So he's hurt you so many different ways this year. Yeah, I was
he's not MVP. He's not MVP.
Well,
those numbers.
We're getting into that in a minute. Don't think we're ignoring that. But I was interested in what Todd Archer had to say, because you and I have been talking about this a lot. Getting this guy some reps, even if you have it wrapped up, I do think it's important. I really do. I think it's important for the entire team, frankly. And I don't know. I can't say I have a good feel for what the Eagles are going to do if that's the case, if they're going to sit all these guys or not. I don't know. But I would hope they play him a little bit either in the Giant or the Saints game.
Bro, they have supreme confidence in Jalen as a player. I mean, they held him out the entire preseason. With the exception of one drive.
Right.
And he came back in and balled. Won the game for us in Detroit. So we have a game plan. We've seen it happen before. We've seen him do it before.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't quite have the problem. I do have a problem with it, but I'm not necessarily, gonna cry because they're not gonna do it. I know they're gonna do it. I know why they're doing it. And just this last game just kind of set it in stone and made it concrete that they will do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that they'll be able to adjust to it and they'll come back from it. I hope that they bring them out there for a series or two. I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
But the likelihood that they do, come on, man.
I don't know, man. I 5 is a long number. If it was 3, if it was 2, but potentially, I'm talking about just for Jalen. I don't know, man. And you're going to have a team like Todd pointed out earlier, who playing their first round game they're going to come in hot. They will have won a game, and the Eagles will be sitting for a long time. Is that going to be? There's going to be a lot of debate surrounding that, man. That is for sure. All right, so let's come back, Barrett, and let's dig into the MVP discussion.
All right,
and how much not playing this kind of spotlight game is going to hurt Jalen Hurts compared to some of the others. We'll look at what Mahomes is doing. We'll look at what Josh Allen's doing, Burrow's doing. Maybe you want to throw Tyreek Hill in there. You want to, somebody non-quarterback. We could do that as well. But we'll dig into the MVP discussion. 2:00 NFL talk. Washington getting a big piece back. There was an extension given out in Green Bay. We'll look at the 2021 quarterback draft. We'll do our power rankings and Week 16 previews a little later. Favorite Christmas movie, and we'll curious where you guys stand on that in the chat section as well. All right, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn off today. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you now about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So if you have any issues like today here in our area, winds, potentially freezing rain, the kind of things that just sit on branches that could maybe have them come down and cause you big problems. You want to get your trees evaluated. They're just a quick phone call away. They are experts at trimming all types of trees, and they serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. And their specialization is tree removal, stump grinding, and tree pruning. You go to their Facebook page or their Instagram for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Ram starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
What's up, everybody? Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Happy holidays to you and your families, and hope you're doing well out there. Hope you have a great weekend. Be safe and enjoy, that's for sure. He's Barrett. I am Rob. Derek off today. We're hanging out with you, getting you set for the Eagles and the Cowboys tomorrow. Christmas Eve day, 4:25 start. Barrett, we'll dive into some of the big matchups. Most of them are tomorrow. Sunday's slate is not quite as good, but there's some good games tomorrow. All right, let's dig into the MVP thing. I just mentioned with Jalen Hurts, he's got 3,400 passing yards. He's rushed for 747. He's got 35 combined touchdowns, a really good passer rating of 104.6. You know, and I think it's pretty much universal now. Most books, sports books, had him as the leader in the clubhouse for the MVP race until he went down, and then, which is not really necessarily fair, but that flipped in a big way. Patrick Mahomes is the leader. Now, let me give you Mahomes' numbers. He's got 4,496 yards passing. He's completing 67% of his passes, 35 touchdowns in the air. He's got 11 interceptions, and he's got a 105 passer rating. Now, he's not as nearly the running threat, which is, everybody's game's different, but he's got 313 running yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. So he's got 38 touchdowns altogether. Look, no question, Mahomes is incredible. So when you have these debates, it's not like you're knocking these other guys. They're unreal. And Mahomes is, and he's doing it without Tyreek Hill. So it's been a remarkable season. But if you're just asking me this year up until this point, for me, I'll take the guy who's 13-1 and still putting up monster numbers, and that's Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely. The ultimate is the winning record, really. So that's what I'm looking at. I mean, I haven't seen a team, I haven't seen an MVP winner on a team with just average, win total results. You know what I mean? You usually have to be up there as an upper echelon teams, at least a playoff team, to be an MVP. I don't know if there's been an MVP that's not been in the playoffs or had a bad team. So you look at you look 13-1. I mean, that says it all. Mm-hmm. I mean, 13-1. The next one is 10. Patrick Mahomes he's won 10 games. I mean, 13 games as opposed to 10 games. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. And he's doing it, with stats that aren't measurables for what you use for past MVPs as far as passing. And that's the only detriment that he has, that, they just won't look at those other stats, those other intangibles, which make him an even better, even better quarterback when you think about how he's doing it with his legs and he's doing it with his arm.
Yeah, and that's my thing, Barrett. I just, I've been saying this all year. I think because he does it somewhat unconventionally, where it's not just passing for the most part, there are some that will still hold that against them rather than looking at the playoff total. And I think that's wrong. Therein lies the issue. Like, the game has changed, and we're going to be seeing more and more of this where I don't know. I guess, do they hold it against Josh Allen? Like, does he get points taken off, if you will, from some people because he does it with his legs? I mean,
No.
He's rushed for 705 yards and 6 touchdowns. Does that seem to be an issue for anybody? And I know he's thrown for 30, but like, why is there a difference there?
Right.
I don't get it.
I don't quite understand it either. I don't quite understand it.
It's strange to me. Dan asked, do I think that Carson should have won the MVP despite missing the last 2 games? I think he was definitely on pace to win the MVP, Dan. And I think, was it only 2 games?
I thought
they 11-2. I think it was more than that. I think it might have been. Maybe it was 3 games. Whatever. I mean, not regardless. I actually do think he could have made a strong case for him to win it. And I don't. That's also assuming that we're not going to see Hurts again. I don't know if we will. We may not see him. That's very possible. Barrett thinks that they would sit him the rest of the way. I think you should get him a little bit of touch, and that's not going to help his MVP cause for sure. But yeah, it hurts him for sure. It hurts him. There's no doubt. Not playing in this game. I mean, this game is Christmas Eve, the most touted matchup of the week. For and again, was a little bit of the luster knocked off of it with the Cowboys losing last week, a little bit, but still, it's still a huge game. If he went out there and balled in this game against Dallas on that national stage,
he'd have won it.
I think it would have given him enough distance that it really wouldn't have mattered what happened in the last 2 games. I believe that. I do.
I believe he would have won it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, and look, let me make the case for Allen here. Allen's got 3,800 passing yards. He's got 30 passing touchdowns. He does have 11 interceptions, and his passer rating is not as good as either of those 2 guys. It's 97.3. He's run for 705 and 6 touchdowns. He's averaging 50 yards per game. Again, he's a beast. This is not a knock on either of these guys, but if you're just asking me which side, by the way, 4 red zone interceptions for Josh Allen. That's key. Yeah. So I would certainly lean Jalen over Allen at this point as well.
Absolutely. And I think he's kind of thrown himself out of the MVP race from what he did, lost those games. And he was directly involved with both of those 2 losses, bad losses in the middle of the season. Well, was it like 4 games ago?
Yeah.
So he was directly involved with the loss and throwing those picks in the red zone in the most inopportune times. I just think that what Jalen has done, even with the 2 interceptions he threw this last week, that's still nothing compared. That's still less than half of what the other guys have.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about 11 interceptions to 5.
Right.
700 yards rushing?
Yes.
700 yards rushing. He has 13 TDs, rushing TDs.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many passing TDs? 22?
Jalen's got 22 and 13. Yep. 20, combined 35. Yep.
Come on, man.
I hear you.
Man. That's right up there with everybody else.
All right, let me throw Burrow at you, just to get the another guy who's definitely in contention for sure. 3,885 passing yards, 31 touchdowns in the air. He does have 10 picks, a 102.5 passer rating, and he's completing 68%. Like, Burrow's numbers are really good. He's rushed for 242, and he's got 5 touchdowns on the ground. Burrow's got a lot of touchdowns, 36 touchdowns. That's a good number. And again, his team's on fire right now too, which is helping him, in a big way. They're after that slow start, they're on a real run. So he's definitely a guy who's in contention too. And look, he's a great player. He's just a flat out great player.
He can do it. He do a lot of stuff, man. He lost his wide receiver for 2 games.
They didn't skip much of a beat without the Jamar Chase, who's a great player.
So when you think about that, he wasn't getting protected. Not until now. He's starting to be protected now. His offensive line's finally turned the corner and starting to protect him now, which is helping him, put up even better numbers.
Yeah, big time.
I just can't wait, man. the total disrespect. I'm starting to get heated up again. I'm trying to calm myself down, man. I hate the disrespect that this team gets. You know, I mean, Jalen, it shouldn't be a question. We shouldn't be sitting here trying to talk about if Jalen's an MVP candidate. I mean, if he's an MVP guy or not. If he should just win. He should just win, man. I mean, they just did the Pro Bowl voting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why can't they do the MVP?
Look, I think you got to at least finish up. I hear you. You got to finish the race here. Let me throw a couple others at you that deserve at least some love here. Non-QBs. You know, Justin Jefferson is over 1,600 yards receiving, man.
That's ridiculous.
Whoa, like that is crazy. I mean, he's likely going to get over 2,000 yards receiving.
Everybody in the stadium knows the ball is going to him.
Yep. And
everybody, including the defense and the defensive coordinator.
Yep.
And they double team him.
Mm-hmm.
They have somebody at the top of him. They bracket him, and he's almost unstoppable, man. His route running, man. His sense of where he needs to be at, the cohesiveness he has with Cousins, it's impeccable, man. This guy, you know, I mean, you saw what the Colts did. They just tried to knock him out the game.
Yeah.
They were just trying to bully him out the game, man. Make him stop doing what he was doing. And they still couldn't stop him. He still came back in the game, still balled out.
Like, can you imagine the knock was this guy's just a slot receiver? Like, really?
I know he's pissed. I know Howie's still pissed.
No, I know. I'm not even taking a shot at Howie. It's just really frustrating, just generally that was because if you watched him the year before, because that was when he played in the slot was Jamar Chase's true freshman year.
Right.
You watched Jefferson the year before that. He played all over the place.
Exactly.
It was just a big whiff. All right. So the other one, Tyreek Hill, I mean, he leaves, you know, the comfort of Patrick Mahomes and he goes to Miami. He's over 1,500 yards receiving. Now, he's starting to pick it up with touchdowns. He's got 7 now. He didn't have a ton early, but he started to pick it up a little bit lately. But, you know, nonetheless, that combination with Mike McDaniel and Tua and, you know, Waddle on the other side is pretty phenomenal.
Oh, that's crazy, man. He's another guy. You know the ball's going to him. And it's not like there's a bunch of bomb plays, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a couple plays where, you know, 20, 30 yards or more. But for the most part, it might be a little crossing route, a little under route, a little dagger coming back to the ball, and then he just takes it up after that. He gets more exciting is when he gets the ball, man. Not just him beating guys off the line, but him starting to go out there and as soon as he gets the ball, able to just run past people like they're standing still. Like I've seen guys just quit running.
Yeah.
They're like 30 yards away from the end zone. They just quit running because they know the speed that he has. Because he's so fast, he just turns around and looks at you.
Well, you know, Barrett, for like in a league with just the fastest, quickest, sickest athletes, to be that much faster and quicker than those guys tells you like you're in a different orbit, you know, and he is a legit track guy who can catch the ball. And he's put together. He's not some skinny, you know, like he's a tank. I mean, it's crazy.
He's built like a running back.
Yeah.
And fast. I mean, super fast, man. He's thick, man, but his speed, man, and his acceleration off the top, gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's
no
a
question.
threat, bro. And that's a great combination of him and Waddle, because Waddle's just as fast.
Oh, really good combo. Let's give some runners some love here. Josh Jacobs, he's over 1,400 yards rushing. He's got 11 touchdowns. He's doing it, Barrett, with and still averaging 5.1 yards per carry. So he's over 5 yards per carry. He's their workhorse. He's getting more than 106 yards per game. He's only fumbled twice in 291 carries. And they didn't pick his option up.
Nope.
He's a free agent at the end of the year.
I'm trying to figure out how does Alabama get all these players, man?
Well, you look at what they just crank out. It's just in terms of like running backs and receivers, not to mention defensive players and all that. But it's their recruiting is it's otherworldly, man.
Well, they don't have to recruit. You know, teams recruit. Players recruit them. I mean, you got both the boys up there in the defensive tackles in Washington.
Yeah, Payne and Allen,
Amari Cooper, Smitty, Josh Jacobs. King Henry. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on about these players, man. I mean, how does Alabama do it, man? This is before they start getting paid. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Before they start getting paid.
Yep.
That's good. Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's ridiculous. Tua.
Yeah, we're going to see some monstrous contracts.
Oh, no question.
This summer, for sure we are. All right, so the other one that I think deserves, some notoriety here. I'll give you his numbers because they haven't been as good lately. But considering where he was, I think Saquon Barkley, where he'll end up getting like the comeback player of the year. But still, he's already over 1,100 yards. He's got 9 touchdowns running. He's their, I'd say, primary receiving target as well.
Yep.
He's turned back into what they thought he was going to be coming out of Penn State after a couple-year hiatus because of injuries. And he's another one, Barrett, who's game planned for. Like, he's the guy you got to stop every single time.
Every single time. He's going to get the ball, man. He's special, man, but I think he needs to get out of New York. You get him out of New York, I think he can flourish as a player, man. They're not going to allow him to be great out there. With Dable being there, he probably could, but unless they get he's going for somewhere where an established quarterback is at. Like, can you imagine him being somewhere like Buffalo or Chiefs or
somewhere with a good passing attack where it's not all just geared towards him? Yeah.
Like, he did everything. You know what I'm saying? He was wildcat quarterback half the time when they were in the red zone in the beginning of the year when they were winning those games. I mean, he did absolutely everything for that team. Everything for that team, man.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And then the other side that we probably don't give, it's almost just like an offensive award. But, if you want to go to the other side, there's a lot of guys that deserve it. I mean, you could start with the sacks. Nick Bosa's got 15.5. Matthew Judon's got 14.5. Myles Garrett's 13.5. Parsons has 13. Reddick's got 12. All these guys should be in some kind of, discussion. But it's such an offensive award. These guys don't get a whole lot of love on the other side, man.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I mean, I like, guys that, that walk the walk on the defensive side of the ball, man. Like, you look at, guys like Wooten, the corner from
Woolen. Yeah, they kid from Seattle.
Yeah, Woolen. You got Woolen. You got Sauce Garner.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids are
balling. They don't
balling,
throw at them.
Young guys, man. Young guys too. Young guys, man. That I could see becoming them anchors as cornerbacks. Just like the Jalen Ramseys.
Yeah.
So.
And you know what? Shame on me. I should have brought this up earlier too when we were talking about Eagle stats. C.J. Gardner-Johnson with 6 interceptions, man, and he's missed a few games here.
Yeah.
What would that total have been had he not, gotten hurt?
What our defense has been if he hadn't got hurt.
Yeah.
Even better than what it is right now.
Yeah. No, right. And
what does he have to come back?
That their hope. I think he's more of a playoff comeback than anything else.
Okay.
But that's he's another free agent, but that's a move that Howie makes, right before the regular season starts. He smells a little blood in New Orleans. He knows that they don't want to pay him. Howie swoops in and grabs him. And it's aggressive, smart GMing, man. And that's how you land that right before the season starts. How you land Joseph and Sue in season. In addition to everything else that they did in the offseason. It's amazing. It really is.
It absolutely is. And, and we're still talking about this MVP race, man. I mean, it's just a quarterback-driven league.
Yeah.
And they should just name it quarterback MVP instead of anything else. When was the last time an MVP candidate was not a quarterback?
I don't know.
Was it
no,
AP?
Not on the offensive side? It is even a better question.
I thought AP won it one year.
Yeah, I'm saying when was the last time it wasn't an offensive player?
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like the Heisman. The last time was Woodson out of Michigan in '98.
Yep.
So
exactly.
There should almost be 2 awards. Just offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year.
Yep.
With the Heisman and the MVP. But no, look, I mean, when you consider the Eagles have that many players in consideration for a budget like Hurts, you're talking about AJ Brown in consideration as one of the best receivers. A lot, man. Like, there's a lot of talent on this team.
Even Justin Jefferson, MVP.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Why didn't you get it?
Would you say, like, just from a talent standpoint, they haven't proven it yet, obviously. Is this 22 team more talented than the 17 team?
No question. No doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. just look at them as a whole. Offensively, the quarterback position, they're more talented. The receiver positions, they're more talented. The running back position, they're more talented.
Mm-hmm.
O-line is to start the season out is a wash, because they had a great offensive line then. Defensive line, I think I'd have to give the edge here. Cornerbacks, there's no question. With the exception of the safeties, the secondary, the two safeties we had in secondary at the time.
Right.
Well, way better.
Right.
You can't say anything about those.
No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt on that.
Two corners, you can't even. It's not even close with Bradbury and Slay.
Slay, yeah. I mean, they might be the best. I don't know.
But you got Malcolm Jenkins and then what's his name? Rodney.
Were phenomenal. Yeah, you're right. That position is no doubt 17.
Then linebackers. Ooh.
This is tough because Jordan Hicks got hurt. So do you count him?
I would still count him.
Bradham was a darn good linebacker who probably doesn't get enough credit.
He was, but he was slow as pond water, but he still made plays. And then you had Kendricks.
Yeah.
So
that's close too.
That's really close, man. Because I might have to give the edge going to 17.
Yeah.
A little bit of the edge.
Yeah.
But during the Super Bowl time, I'd have to say right now our linebackers, but Edwards and White are better than at the time Bradham and Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Hicks could do everything that TJ could do, and White could do everything that Hendricks could do.
Yeah.
So yeah. And they just decided different defenses also. So
big time. Yeah, big time. That's for sure. Offensive line, I would go with this team, even though there's some parts that,
You had Jason Peters back there, but he was hurt though. So
he was hurt. Big V played well, but I'll take this collective over that collective.
Absolutely. Because then they had, they had a good offensive line. Those
they did for sure.
But they had some spotty guys in there, like what's his name?
Wisniewski,
yeah.
He was solid. Who was solid? He wasn't bad. He had a nice career.
All trades, Jack of all trades. But they had Brooksy in there though.
They did.
Brooksy was, that was probably a way better right side than left side that year.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You look at the overall receiving core. I'll take this one.
I'll take this one also.
AJ
What about tight end though?
I mean, that's I got to go through. I got to go with depth. It's that one. Yeah, I mean, you talking about Ertz and Selleck over Goddard and his backups. That's 100% 17.
You have to.
Yeah, that's 17. Running backs. I'll take Miles Sanders over. It was a different kind of. LeGarrette was good for what he did.
He was a goal line guy.
It's a little bit tough.
Open things up.
That's a little tough just because it's so different.
Yeah, way different. We ran a different play, the different offense. Everything is a lot different.
Yeah, you almost have to those two cancel each other out, I guess.
But then you got a guy that had 1,000 yards though.
Yeah.
You got 1,000 yards. LeGarrette Blount wasn't getting anything close to 1,000 yards.
No.
And then who's the kid we trade for?
Ajayi.
Jay Ajayi. I can't even. Jay Ajayi couldn't hold it. He couldn't hold it to counter to either one of our running backs.
No, I mean he was good for that team. He was a nice piece for that team. Yeah, no, and had some nice runs in the Super Bowl. So did Blunt. So did Blunt. But
100 yards in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's true. Kicker is the same. Punter, advantage to that team. Punter, Donnie long ball compared to
Donnie was that dude, wasn't he?
Yeah, I love Donnie.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was really good. He didn't have any. What do you have? One punt in the Super Bowl. You didn't get a lot of work, but that's good. And then special teams, I would go with that team for sure. And even though Sproles was hurt, I mean, look, overall, I'm taking talent on this team. Just talent. It's not doesn't mean they're going to come up clutch like that team did. But
and that's the big thing. They were clutch.
That team was fearless, man, and they. That's why. Again, you get back to this game against the Cowboys. This notion that it's over if you have a backup. Don't we know better than that?
Oh, Cross put some. Cross puts them. They said, "I'll take 17's coaching staff." Ooh.
Yeah, look, Doug. You got Doug Schwartz.
Doug Schwartz, offensive coordinator,
Reich.
Frank Reich.
Man.
Yeah, I
That's hard.
that's real hard because Sirianni and Steichen and Gannon.
That's hard.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it's not the easy.
No, it's not.
Hard.
No, that you could really you can make a hard case for either side.
The only thing that they have, like Coach Phipp, is hands down.
Oh, special teams destroyed. Yeah. I know, but back to the point. Like this, you can't go in there and win in Dallas with a backup quarterback. The Eagles beat Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. And I know Foles is way more established than Gardner, but Gardner is. But give me a break. I mean, there's such a good team around him that absolutely they can win. Absolutely they can win.
And that's why I said, when you think about what Parsons said, there was some truth to what Parsons said, but you still can't downplay the effect on what Jalen Hurts is.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing. That's the only thing with me. Yes, you could say this is a great team. All in all, it's a great team. Mm-hmm. But you can't downplay Hurts' effect on how these guys are playing great, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's a good point. It's a really good point. I think that the other part is there is a little piece of all of those guys who wants to show everybody, that we got our guys back, that we're going to pick this thing up, and let's just stick it to them, period. Let's stick it to them, period. I think all of them kind of view it the same way. I really believe that. Like, I think they're all going to come out, especially like you said, the offensive line is going to be on their game, man. They're going to be on their game. And I think there's also a little part that's like Sirianni and Steichen are like, all right, we're going to show you a little something else here.
Right.
That we can do.
Exactly. We're a pretty good damn coaching staff, and give us our just due.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
give
exactly.
us our just due. But you just see Philly fan. He said, Philly Eagles fan says, you can't compare Minshew to Foles. We don't know yet, man. We don't know yet. Yet.
Look, I think that's fair. He's right. No, I'm not. Yeah. What I'm saying is I'm not doing like a straight comp with those two. I'm just saying that like the sort of mindset of a lot of people is as soon as it's the backup quarterback, it's over. And I don't think that. Like,
nope.
And the nice thing too is Minshew, I'm not going to say he's proven, but he's played a lot of football. And he's made over 30 starts in his career. So he's not going out there. He's either some rookie or some dude who's just strictly had the clipboard in his hand and never gotten a shot. So he's done it, and he doesn't turn the ball over. 41-12.
Right.
That's what I'm banking on. I'm banking on that too, man.
Right. TDs, baby. Score.
Don't give it to them. All right, so we'll come back and we'll do our NFL segment. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to get into, including we're going to look back at the 2021 draft class for quarterbacks based off of Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence's performances, respectively, last night. NFL power rankings for this Week 16, and then Week 16 previews of all the big games. So we'll dive into all those kind of things. We'll come back. 2:30 segment, and we will get into our favorite Christmas TV movies, and we want everybody to chime in on that as well in the chat section. So we'll do all that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. He's Barrett. I'm Rob. Derek's off. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, Razor Technology is who I want to tell you about. Razor Technology's comprehensive managed provider solution delivers constant monitoring, on-demand assistance, and rapid issue resolution. Through data-vetted and insight-driven implementation, they strengthen your existing IT resources with both human power and expertise that reduces security risks and downtime while enhancing organizational efficiency and productivity. They are a strategic resource for adaptive and fast-growing companies that need help selecting, implementing, and managing their IT services. Their goal is bigger than just one project, one problem, or one upgrade. It's improving the overall functioning of our partners and helping them achieve their business objectives through an ongoing synergistic relationship. Give your IT team the freedom to refocus by augmenting their reach with Razor Technology. Contact Razor Technology today to learn more about how their managed services can protect and enhance your business by calling 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Ram starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
What's up, everybody? Hanging out with you. Hour number 3 of the program. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. He's Barrett. I'm Rob. We're hanging out with you. Derek's off today. Hope you're doing well. All right, so a couple things, Barrett. Chase Young, excuse me, will make his debut for the Commanders. Excuse me. It is the first time he's played this year. Barrett, if you remember back to, geez, man, we're going back like 6 weeks. They thought he was going to come back then. Some guys, it just takes a little bit longer. And he had all kinds of ligament issues in that knee. It wasn't just an ACL. And it's taken him almost the entire season to return. It's been more than a year. And you hope for this kid because he looked so good that first year that he's able to come back. But it's, we'll see. But he will play this week for Washington.
I mean, I thought he was supposed to come back the game we played him. Remember, he was supposed to be back then.
You're right. You're exactly right.
I mean, he was just such a good player, man, leaving Ohio State. He was almost unblockable. And, man, he started the year out, man. Both he and Sweat, man, were just almost unblockable coming off the edges.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're going back to week 10, right? And we're now entering week 16. So that it was 6 weeks ago when the Eagles played them. It was week 10 with that loss. That's the game they thought he was going to play in that one. Yeah. So it's been a minute. So we'll see. We'll see how that ends up working out for him. Kenneth Walker will play for Seattle versus the Chiefs. Seattle needs that win, Barrett. They, they've cooled off. They really overachieved this year, and great for them what they've been able to do. And Geno Smith, what a season, and he's going to be a Pro Bowler. But
so glad I'm so glad, man. He You know what I mean? Deservedly so. You know, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFC, regardless of him being a backup. For his entire career, he belongs in the Pro Bowl.
I'm with you. I'm happy. I love that kind of thing, the comeback story and all those kind of things. And that's certainly been the case for him. But yeah, you look at where they're at right now. They're 7-7 on the season, Barrett. And they're right now on the outside looking in. You have Washington at 7-6-1 that holds down the last spot. And you have the Giants at 8-5-1. So, you know, Seattle is playing the Chiefs. That game's in Kansas City. They're 10-point underdogs, but they need to start getting it together for sure.
Yes, they do. It's not going to be a walk in the park. They're going to beat them, but it's just not like they're just going to go in and just dominate. Just, you know, because the Chiefs can't stop anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have to outscore people.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm
sorry, man.
Yeah, go handle the dog. No problem. I'll let people know what's been going on with the Chiefs. So if you look at what Kansas City's been doing, this is in reference to what Barrett just mentioned. So last week, they beat Houston in overtime, but they gave up a 24 spot to a really weak Houston offense.
Yes,
exactly. Denver's offense has stunk all year. They gave up 28 to them the week before. The week before that, Kansas City's loss to the Bengals, they gave up 27. So I mean, yeah, the Chiefs defense, Barrett, if they win it or get deep or to a Super Bowl, they're going to be doing it on the heels of their offense. That's for sure.
They're definitely, you know, and they always say defense wins championships, and they have no defense. I mean, without Sean Jones, I mean, what else do they have?
Yeah, no, they're lacking there. Let me see where they are in points per game allowed. I'm going to check. I haven't looked at where Kansas City stands here, but let me check out where they're at because, you know, that ultimately you're going to be able to beat a Cincinnati or a Buffalo.
Absolutely not
at this rate.
Absolutely
that's
not.
The thing.
And Cincinnati already has their number.
Oh yeah,
you know they beat them the last 3 times. So I don't think that
they're 20th in points allowed. Kansas City. I'm looking at it. They're giving up 23 per game.
Wow.
23 on the nose. Yeah.
Which is strange to me because, you know, Andy has always had a good defensive coordinator.
Spags.
Up until the end. You know, Spags, I don't know what Spags has got going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he just can't – he doesn't have anything up front to really help him out.
Yeah, you know, you look at their sack totals, Barrett. They have Chris Jones, right? Other than that,
Chris doesn't. I said Sean Jones.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of Sean
Raider.
Jones. Yeah, Sean Jones. You know, I played against him.
But other than that, their leading guy is our Karlaftis, you know, the defensive end, and,
from Purdue,
from Purdue, and Snead. And those guys only have 3.5. I'm sorry, Dunlop has 4, but that's it. I mean, their totals are low after you get off of Jones. Like there's not a lot else there, you know, beyond that.
So you know how that's what I'm saying. I don't see Kansas City as a team that's going to go deep. Not with the defense is.
Who do you see coming out of the AFC? I think it's Cincinnati. I like the way they're playing right now.
I think it's Buffalo. I know I love the way Cincinnati's playing, but I think Buffalo's defense will pull them through.
Okay.
You know, the way Tre'Davious White is playing, Oliver is playing, you know, they can mix it up. They can definitely mix it up.
I personally like to see Sean McDermott get over the hump in the AFC. I would love for that to be the case.
You know what I mean? That would be great, you know, Eagles, Buffalo. That'd be a great matchup.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It would. 2 crazy fan bases.
Right.
Elgton Jenkins, the offensive lineman from the Packers, got extended. Barrett, he got paid 4 years, $68 million.
What?
So, 4 years, 68. It can get up to like in the 70s. Yeah.
He's played well, though.
Yeah, he's good. Well. He's good. I mean, everything just gets so lost because they haven't had a good year. I think, you know, sometimes it's hard to decipher who's doing what. And you know this. I mean, that's a position that unless you're making mistakes, you sometimes you don't get noticed.
Well, the best thing as an offensive lineman you can do is to not have your name called. Because it's always being called in the most inopportune times. They rarely talk. John Madden was the only guy that really brought attention to the offensive line. That's why I love John. Coach Madden would, he talk about offensive line play. But most guys don't do that. They're talking about the receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks, defensive linemen, and DBs. For the most part, it's just a grimy job, hard-nosed job. You don't alternate like defensive linemen do. You never get the praise. You only get cussed out when you jump off sides, have a penalty or something. It's one of those woe is me jobs.
Yeah.
But, without us, you know what I mean? The game wouldn't be what it is.
I agree, man. I agree. So Sean McVay made the announcement that Aaron Donald is not going to play against Denver and likely done for the season. Okay, no kidding. Why would you put him back out there?
Right. No, it's not. Why would you put him back out there?
Yeah.
He's not going back out there.
Yeah.
Not when he's playing for nothing. He's not going back out there. He told him, look, coach, I'm done for the season.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, they're going to have to figure it out. I don't know how they're going to do it with the lack of draft picks and whatnot, but they're going to have a really tough.
They have a really tough. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough on them because I don't know what they can do.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, that's for sure, because with the lack of draft picks and money situation, it's going to be hard. All right, so let's dig into the quarterbacks drafted in 2021. We're coming off a game last night where we see Trevor Lawrence headed in the right direction and Zach Wilson headed in the very wrong direction for any number of reasons. But so Lawrence went 1, Zach Wilson went 2, Trey Lance, the Niners traded up for 3, and then Mac Jones went 15th overall. The first 2 are kind of obvious where it's going. I think, as I said earlier, I think Zach Wilson's done with the Jets. I don't think we're going to see him again with them. And I'm sure there's awful cap ramifications, but I don't think they're going to stick him. You'll see him stick around. And I think Trevor Lawrence is becoming the guy they thought they were getting out of Clemson. But like the Trey Lance situation is an interesting one, Barrett. Let's say that Brock Purdy either gets them to like an NFC championship game or, we hope this doesn't happen, but goes to a Super Bowl or whatever, wins a Super Bowl as their quarterback. What do you do? And then there's still the Jimmy G thing hanging over them. I think he's a free agent at the end of the year, but
he'll be a free agent. Yeah, he will be free agent, but Trey Lance has done nothing. Zach Wilson has done nothing. And I remember when we were going through the draft, so we're looking at film and tape on them and everything. And during that time, I was really, really into my college football. And I was doing games, and I did a Trey Lance game. I did a Zach Wilson game, and I just didn't see what everybody else was seeing. I didn't see the hype. I saw Zach Wilson as a guy that got pushed out the pocket a lot, and he will make amazing throws down the field to his receivers because they were basically playing like street ball almost. You know what I mean? Like they were in a park somewhere just throwing the ball and playing catch. That's the way their offense was run. When he had big plays, it wasn't like he was dissecting guys apart. He was handing the ball off for the most part. It wasn't a bunch of short passes. It was a frenetic play in which made this guy, as good as he was. Mm-hmm. Then you had Trey Lance. Trey Lance, he was just running a rock. I mean, he was just like a running back. When he did throw down the field, it wasn't magical. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't magical. So I didn't see what they saw in either one of those players.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and there was such a lack of experience for Trey Lance. The amount of games he had played, even if you combined high school and college, was just minuscule, man. I mean, honestly, it was a really big gamble, and I don't know. It just seemed like really even from the jump this year that
both of those guys. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, it wasn't where it was going to be, man.
It wasn't like it was different. Like it was almost like Trevor Lawrence was in his own draft. Like he wasn't drafted with everybody else. Like they knew they were gonna pick him up from the beginning. This guy's been groomed since yay tall to be a starting quarterback in Georgia. Both he and Justin Fields were 1 and 2 in the state, battling back and forth in Georgia for like their entire career, bro. Ever since they were young kids, they were battling back and forth as far as the best quarterback in the league. Mm-hmm. And as they went up through the ranks, you start seeing them at the Nike camps and stuff like that, the 7-on-7 camps, and see how good these two were. And they were going back and forth. So when they did go into, Trevor Lawrence did go to Clemson, and then Fields went to Ohio State, you saw their careers blossom. Now, what darndest thing to me is the reason why I think Justin Fields will still be a good quarterback in his league is that he was a drop back quarterback at Clemson. I mean, at Ohio State.
Right.
He was a drop back quarterback. He wasn't this guy who's running around like he's doing right now. And then you look at Trevor Lawrence. He was the exact same way, a drop back quarterback. Well, look, they started to use his athletic talent now. People started to take a page out of the Eagles playbook because they see now how much of a weapon a quarterback can be if he can move around. I think the days to sit in the pocket and be a drop back quarterback, they're starting to be non-existent.
Yeah.
Non-existent.
Yeah, I think in for a lot of reasons, but in large part because look, it's just so hard to contain some of these insanely good defensive, ends, linebackers, tackles. They're hard.
Faster.
Yeah.
They're bigger, stronger, and faster, man. I mean, and you look at New England's quarterback, Jones.
Mac Jones, who we're gonna get into him in 1 second. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's just
let's just go into it. Let's go into it. Is he so do you think he's too much of a pocket guy to really have success in this day and age?
I'm just looking at the successful teams. The successful teams that are playing well right now are guys that can that have some type of athletic ability to get out the pocket, functional mobility. You got to be able to move around, and that I think that's where the league is going right now. How fast DBs are and linebackers are and defensive linemen are. I mean, you look at, just perfect example. We were just talking about Washington. Both of their defensive ends ran like 4.4s. Sweat, in fact, ran a 4.3 as a defensive lineman. And then Chase, he ran like a 4.4.
Right.
So, you got to be able to run around and make plays. And that's why, it was so alluring to look at Wilson and Lance. Both of those guys moved around a lot in college.
Yeah.
And threw outside the pocket. Pocket passers, there weren't many pocket passers in that draft that really are doing anything right now.
But here's the danger about it. You better be sure that guys can pass too. Like it's great with Zach Wilson can run around. Okay, that's wonderful.
Yep.
But he's got zero mechanics. He's got zero pocket feel. Like he's got a cannon and he can run, but he doesn't know how to play the game. And I think too many times they fall in love with those intangibles rather than, is this guy a football player?
Well, that's why the 49ers right now are screwed, because Trey Lance doesn't have those intangibles. He has the intangible. He can run around and stuff, but he doesn't have the mechanics to go and drive the ball. Now, that's not saying anything that he can't go out there and make it happen. You can work your way into it. You see what Hurts has done. Hurts was a straight running back at Alabama.
Yeah.
Made the transition to being a thrower, started in Alabama, then got to Oklahoma and made a smooth, seamless transition into being a throwing quarterback. He threw more than he ran. Got to the NFL, they tried to just make him into a runner. That's what Doug tried to do. He said, no, I'm going to go ahead and hone my craft a little bit, and look where he is now. You got to have that type of work ethic to do that. I don't know if a lot of these guys do. I don't know about Wilson and Lance's workouts and how they work out. I know Justin Field works his butt off from just what I've heard, word of mouth. But you look at these guys now. This draft, this is supposed to have been the best quarterback draft since what? Since Luck's draft.
The one this year. Yeah, there's definitely, I think next year too is going to be strong. But yeah, for sure. Stroud and Bryce Young and those guys.
How much do they compare to this 2021 draft with the kid from Ohio State, a good kid from Alabama?
Yeah, right. The factories just keep pumping them out. But I will say this too: a lot of this has to do with where you land. It's like timing in life is everything. It's so important. And I'll give Jones is a great example. Why did he look better last year when he was a rookie? I'll tell you why. He had Josh McDaniels.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
You think usually you take a leap in your second year. Why is he going backwards? Because he's got Joe Judge and Matt Patricia and whomever is the the quarterback's coach. That stuff matters. That's why you give the Eagles credit. Between Sirianni, Steichen, and Johnson, who's the quarterback's coach, Kevin Johnson, they surrounded Jalen Hurts with an awesome coaching
Brian
staff and
Johnson.
support staff. I'm sorry, Brian, not Kevin. They surrounded them with great players.
And
great
he's
coaches.
soaked it up, man. He's soaked it up. I don't know how much. See, I can't say to how much these guys work. I know evidently Zach Wilson isn't working in that direction, and it comes with being able to receive the instructions you're given. A lot of people can't receive instructions given to them. A lot of people can't receive the coaching that's given to them. You know what I mean? I've seen guys have been totally back. I mean, I was put and thrust in that position where there was a coach that my body makeup and the way I played just didn't fit Mouse's his way of thinking. He was that duck walk guy and all this stuff. Mouse, and Mouse is like the number one offensive line coach in the world. Like his claim to fame was he got Anthony Munoz, a gold jacket, got him into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Well, that didn't fit what I do as a player. I got to Russ Grimm. Russ Grimm, like, yeah, I know what you are, and made me a better player. Mouse, his system didn't do it. I could take a guy, drive him 10 yards down the field, and dump him on his head, and it'd be a negative in the playbook because I didn't do it the way he coached it.
Okay.
What kind of junk is that?
It's bad coaching.
Right. And then you look at, Russ Grimm was like, hey, I don't care how you do it, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah, you coach to someone's strengths, man. That's for sure. All right. Let's dive into the NFL power rankings, Barrett. We do AFC on Wednesday, we do NFC on Thursday, and now we do the entirety of the league. All right, so I'll go first. I'll hit it first here. 5, I go Chiefs. 4, I go Bengals. 3, I go 49ers. 2, I go Bills. 1, I go Eagles. So I go Eagles, Bills, 49ers, Bengals, Chiefs. 49ers. Eagles, Bills, 49ers, Bengals, Chiefs. Now, no Vikings who only have 3 losses. That's a fair complaint. No Cowboys. Okay. I guess you could argue that as well. But that's my pecking order right there. Who you got?
I go Dallas. Then I go Chiefs, 49ers, Bills, and Eagles. I can't leave Dallas out of the equation, not right now. So, I mean, I give that defense of the 49ers a slight edge over the Chiefs because we're starting to get into the playoff motion. And when you get into the playoff motion, little things like that start to make a difference. You say defense wins championships. I don't know how long you can sustain offense when you're getting, adverse weather conditions. You know what I'm saying? And you can't throw the ball as much. They have a great throwing game with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He can hose it. He can throw it anywhere on the field. But once it starts getting cold and you don't have a running game, can you sustain that? So that's why I think the 49ers jumped him, even though they don't have a quarterback that could do that. But when you have a defense that could stop them, and you have a Brock Purdy who can just go out there and sustain, I think you can win with it. Okay. Which is why I put the Bills at number 2 because they have a running game with their quarterback and they have a defense that can ride with their quarterback. Mm-hmm. Then the Eagles are just the most balanced out of all of them because they can run the ball, they can pass the ball, and they play good defense, man. Dallas, same thing. They can run the ball, they can pass the ball, even though their quarterback is stinking right now. But when you got a defense that could play, you got a running game that's sustainable with Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. It just gives you a better chance of winning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It just does. So
they definitely have balance. That's for sure.
So Dallas, Chiefs, 49ers, Bills, and the Eagles.
Dallas, Chiefs, 49ers. Okay, our first 3 are the same. Eagles, Bills, Chiefs is our first order.
Yep.
And you have who's 4 for you?
The Chiefs.
Okay. So I went Bengals. All right. And then I went Chiefs 5. Okay. Interesting. That's a good list. Good list.
So, I mean, I put Dallas I did put Dallas on the list simply because their running game and their defense. But I mean, when I look at the Bengals, yes, they are playing well and they beat up on the Chiefs, but I don't know if they could beat Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that it's been impressive with them, in addition to all the offensive stuff that we talk about, they're protecting Burrow better, and their defense is playing a lot better too. Cincinnati for sure. All right, so let's look at some of the big matchups for Week 16, Barrett. And we'll start with we mentioned Kansas City. Seahawks and the Chiefs. The Seahawks are decided underdogs. They're 10-point underdogs in this one. This is at Kansas City. Kansas City's coming off a game in which they had to go to overtime against Houston. For Seattle, it has not been a great run of late. They started off great, and it looked like they were going to be one of the surprise teams. But you look at what's happening now. They've lost 4 out of their last 5. Their only win is against the Rams. So they lost last week to the 49ers, the week before to Carolina. They beat the Rams. They lost in overtime to Vegas, and then they lost to Tampa Bay. They've been struggling a little bit lately, and it looks like reality might be setting in. I mentioned earlier Kenneth Walker is going to play, but what do you think of that one?
I don't think that the Chiefs lose another game with Seattle. They won't lose to Seattle at all. They'll score too many points on that defense. That defense is starting to get back to where it started off with, and that's being really bad. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They just don't have it. So it'll be an easy win for the Chiefs.
Okay.
Easy win for the Chiefs.
Giants, Vikings. Giants coming off a monster win in Washington. They're only a game. If they win one more game, they clinch a playoff spot. Do the Giants. The Vikings are coming off the biggest comeback in football history against the Colts last week. They typically play tight games. If you look at the Vikings wins this year, I think they've had 8 or 7 by a touchdown or less. They're generally in pretty close games, even though the record's been awesome and they've been very successful in those games. It's been close. So if you look back, so last week is a 39-36 overtime win. They lost to Detroit, but then you go the week before, they beat the Jets by 5. They beat New England by 7. Then they lost to Dallas. Then they won by 3 in overtime against Buffalo, 3 against Washington. I mean, they usually play close games for sure.
I don't think the Giants have a shot at beating the Vikings.
No,
they don't have enough. They don't have enough.
Okay.
They can't score enough. Defensively they'll compete,
right?
But let the Vikings get a shot here and there, and they get up 14 points. They won't be able to recover from that. Okay. So I just think that the Vikings win, and they win by double digits too.
Okay. Bengals red hot, Patriots not. Patriots lose in just unbelievably excruciating fashion last week on that lateral attempt, which was just beyond comprehension that it even happened. But let's start with some.
Did you see Bill when it was happening?
Oh God. I know, man. That look is just
right.
We can kill people just that's there.
But then you see the Raiders, the quarterback. You see him sitting there like, what? Whoa, what? They was on the bench. Like,
Derek Carr couldn't believe it. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No, this will be a mercy killing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
There'll be a mercy killing. They won't be able to stop the Bengals at all.
They've won 8 of 9, Cincinnati. Hot, man. They're scorching hot.
Same thing they did last year.
Yeah. And I just don't believe in the Patriots. I don't think they have enough weapons on offense. I don't think they've done Mac Jones right, as we talked about. And, their defense is still good, and they have playmakers over there, Judon and that crew. Uche is really good, but I don't think they have enough offense to compete with Cincinnati.
They don't.
All right, let's go to the Commanders and the 49ers. Commanders coming off a tough loss to the Giants in a game that, you could argue they got jobbed by the officials a little bit. But nonetheless, it's still a loss.
What's the line on this game?
So the line on the Commanders and the 49ers is San Francisco -6.5.
You'll be shocked, but I'm going with the Commanders.
Commando for that.
Yes.
Grabbing the points.
Write it down. I'm going with the Commanders.
Even in San Francisco. Okay.
Even in San Francisco.
All right. That's
I
interesting.
can't see Purdy scoring on that defense.
That's good defense. But keep in mind, San Fran, probably hotter than Kansas than Cincinnati. They've won 7 in a row. So they're coming in hot, man.
They're coming in hot, but they have no way they can stop Terry McLaurin, Dotson, and what's the other kid's name? Oh, forget the other kid's name.
Samuels.
Samuels.
Yeah.
So
But you also think this might be reality setting in a little bit in this game for Purdy too?
Absolutely. Because they're gonna stop. They will be able to stop that run game. Christian McCaffrey will be stopped this game with those guys up front.
Okay.
And that'll be the factor that dictates that the Commander's gonna win.
Okay. All right.
Is they gonna let him get going.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, well, that's obviously a key to this thing for sure.
I'm doubling down on it.
Packers, Dolphins. Miami hasn't played well lately, and I can't get behind the Packers, man.
I have a Sunday off, and I'm still not going to watch that game.
All right, fair enough. Yeah,
that'll be a terrible game, man. And they're playing in Miami. They're going to break the clock on that Packers team. They may score 50.
Jeez,
on the Packers. Yeah, it'll be a bloodbath.
Okay. All right, interesting. All right, so there's some of the big games of the week. Let's come back.
Well, let's go with the worst games. Two of the worst games.
All right, go ahead.
3 of the worst game. The Broncos Rams. That's atrocious. Then I'll give you even worse than that. The Buccaneers and Cardinals. Come on, man. Oh I believe this. It was just going to be pissed me off. The Cardinals are going to beat the Buccaneers, which is going to give the Saints an automatic conference bid, and they're going to win the conference and win that division.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard to get excited about any of these games on Sunday. It's the Packers, Dolphins, Broncos, Rams, Bucks, Cardinals.
That's going to be the worst. That's going to be the worst Sunday slate ever.
It's bad. And even Monday's the Chargers and the Colts.
Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse.
Yep, Colts are officially eliminated, by the way. All right, we'll come back. We want everybody in the chat section, throw your favorite Christmas movie at us, and we'll get into that when we come back. Barrett and I'll give you our picks as well. We'll do birthdays, we'll do movies, and we'll give you predictions for the Eagles-Cowboys game. All right, he's Barrett. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We'll be right back.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Final segment of the program for Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Hope you're doing well out there. Thanks for hanging out with us. We do appreciate it. All right, so let's get those favorite Christmas or holiday movies going here. And I see Al jumping in here with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I will tell you this, you can never go wrong with that one, Al. It is funny. Chevy Chase is ridiculously good in it. Cousin Eddie is one of the all-time characters. Beverly D'Angelo is brilliant as Chevy Chase's wife and all of them. Really good choice. Just the overall it holds up still, Barrett, even after all these years, and it's really funny. Nah, mute it.
You can't go wrong with Chevy Chase, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't go wrong with him, man.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones, is
give me yours. Yeah, give me one of yours.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh, that's a great one, man. All right. So I didn't think you'd go there.
Yeah, I mean, you like just a good old fashioned hometown, just anime. It's not animated, but it's like, I don't know what you call that, it's not really animated, but
it's that old school, whatever that was. I don't even know what that was, man. And what makes it great is it's so old and corny, kind of like you almost see the puppeteers and stuff almost to an extent.
And Jim Carrey played the Grinch.
Oh, and that one, God, he was so good. He was so good. I see. I'm with Chris with this one. Charlie Brown Christmas is one of my all-time favorites. It's just like touching. It just like gets me in my soul, man. I mean, Charlie gives a little speech. Linus gives a little speech. You got the little tree, his little crappy tree. I had one of those in one of my apartments back in the day, and it made me feel like Charlie Brown. It was great, man. It's great. Well, I'll tell you what's getting a lot of love, and I agree with Duck here. I love Die Hard. Now, there's a big debate whether or not Die Hard is
right. Is it or is it not a Christmas movie?
And I go slight lean yes that it is. I do. I mean, it did take place, during Christmas when all that was happening. The Nakatama building or whatever it was called.
Right.
But I mean, that is so good, man. Bruce Willis is so good in it. The villains are so good in it. The one-liners, yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Yippee-ki-yay.
They're all so good, man. Al, the guy the cop who he connects with, is so good.
Yep. He's sitting down, and then the dude in the limo.
Yeah, he is oblivious to all of it. He doesn't know any of that stuff's going on. I wonder what happened to that dude. The dude who was in the limo. Right. I thought he was gonna blow up. The guy who played the cop became the dad in Family Matters, Reginald Vell Johnson.
Oh, did he? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. That's right. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he was the dad in that. But there's a lot of good ones. We're getting a lot of good choices here. Like Nuri says Home Alone 2. Can't argue that. That's a very good one.
They even got commercials stemming off that,
where's Kevin at? Yeah. Nick, Kevin Hart does not miss many opportunity. Kevin Hart and Shaq and The Rock, I think, are in a battle for
no question.
But,
my wife would love, the Best Man holiday. It's a pal, man.
That's a good one. Yeah.
We know what pals are. Punk A love stories. That's what I call pals, man. She loves her a good pal. I don't like pals, man, but she makes me sit through that and watch.
Yeah, you know what? This time of year, it's like, all right, whatever. If it's
I have to. Yeah, it's not like I want to, but I have to, man.
There's Love Actually. That's another chick flick kind of one. Just on all the time. But there's a lot. Like I go with 007 here. Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye out. Of course. That's my goat.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites, man. When he got to beating up that dude, and his mom came around the corner.
I like the end of it. Like the mom and dad are finally everything's done, and they're sitting there and they're having like a glass of wine, and she finds his gift she forgot to give him, and it's a bowling ball, and she drops it right in his lap. Thank you very much.
Bro, but he was. I just love he was. And then he really shoots his eye out.
Thank God he had his glasses on. They took a little bit of the but how about they had like the wild dogs next door who got the whole turkey. So they had to end up going to the Chinese restaurant to eat.
And he was pissed too.
Oh, he used to always get in there and get a little bite. Yeah. But then the scene where they're pulled over on the road and the son drops the F-bomb, and then she makes them eat the soap. and wash his mouth out with soap for the bad language. I'll tell you, I agree with Matthew here. Elf is an all-timer.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
Elf is an all-timer. I mean, Will Ferrell in that is so good. And there's always It's a Wonderful Life. Like that's another one that you can never go wrong, with that one. That's for sure.
Yes, that's to me, that's one of the all-timers, man. Yeah, then she's trying to put that leg up and saying she's trying her best to keep
the lamp. Yeah. He's so proud, but he puts it in the front window so all the neighbors can see it. And they're all like stopping on the street, like, you see that?
Right.
Yeah, it was good, man.
Oh, man.
And then TNT runs it all day long on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I remember one year, man, we had to, it was like, and we waited till the last minute so as the kids go to sleep, and we got my daughter this like kitchen set. Okay. And it was huge. And you know me, I am the worst. So
right, put it together.
I swear to God, we watched like,
Uh-oh. Well, he'll be right back in a second.
Now, Barrett.
Yeah, he'll be right back in a second, man. He's having a little problem there. That's all, man. But hey, man, I love that, bro. I love that, man.
One you guys didn't say, Christmas movie that I love is Jack Frost.
Oh, that is a good one.
Pretty sad. It's pretty sad with the
right.
With the kid's father passing.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's a good one. I love Jack Frost.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. With the
I'm not a big movie guy, so I haven't seen much. But Elf, I'm growing tired of Elf. Like I can't watch Elf. They had it on the other night at my house, and I'm like, I can't do this one anymore. Home Alone, though, I love Home Alone. Home Alone, I can do all the time. There's Rob back in here. Let's get Rob back in.
All right.
Same thing happened the other day. I don't know what happened. Home Alone's great. Home Alone really like the first. I don't think I saw the third. I see the third one. I don't think I saw the third one, but the first two were really good. Yeah. I mean, Macaulay Culkin was so good as a child actor. He was awesome.
Then he's just burning stuff out, man.
Yeah, man. And then Hollywood got to him, I think, a little bit. But they were good. Yeah, you guys want to keep shout like Edward Scissorhands is getting a lot of love as a Christmas movie, which you don't think of, immediately. So that's pretty good. Scrooged is a good one. Good job out of Baugh.
Bro.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ernest Saved Christmas.
Ernest Saved Christmas.
It's sneaky good, man. It's sneaky good, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're all good, man. Yeah, so I went with Christmas Story, It's a Wonderful Life, which is an old time, black and white, Jimmy Stewart, Charlie Brown, Die Hard, Elf, Christmas Vacation, in no particular order. I just threw all those in there.
I also love Scrooged, man.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
Bill Murray just, he plays just a great guy to just so pessimistic, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everything he's in, I'll watch. I'll watch anything Bill Murray's in, man.
Then you got The Preacher's Wife too, man. The Preacher's Wife too. Denzel.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Whitney. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. That was I think that was one of our movies that were on that day.
Yep.
It was one of them. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, let's hit birthdays and movies, and then we're going to swing it back to the Eagles, and we're going to kind of just give me your keys to this thing, and then we'll give our predictions. So, birthdays: Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, 58 years old, one of my all-time favorites. He is 58. Pearl Jam lead man. Susan Lucci, who was forever in soap operas. I don't even know if she might still be in them. I don't know. Is 76 years old. She would always win the daytime Emmy or whatever that was, Grammy or Emmy. She's 76. Harry Shearer, who does a lot of voiceover work for The Simpsons and is, he's done a lot of stuff himself. He was in Spinal Tap. He's 79 today. TJ Oshie for the Washington Capitals is 36 years old today. Paul Hornung, former Packer, great, and won the Heisman. Was a Vince Lombardi guy. He is 30. He was born on this day in 1935, passed away recently. He was born in 1935. Kirby Smart, Georgia coach, 47 years old today.
He's only 47?
Yeah, he's only 47, man.
Wow, he looks old, man. Coaching
I know.
I didn't know I was older than he was, man.
That takes it out of you.
Right. Dang.
That stuff takes it out of you. Joe Juravicius, a name that not a lot of Eagles fans like.
Yeah, we don't like him too much, huh?
48 years old today is Joe Jurevich. Also a very good punter at Penn State. He was a receiver and a punter. Jack Ham, speaking of Penn State, great linebacker from Penn State and the Steelers, Hall of Famer, is 74 years old. He teamed up with Jack Lambert as a part of that Steelers defense during the 70s, which was so great, the Steel Curtain, etc. So he is 74 years old. Corey Haim, the actor, passed away very young, had a lot of problems away from the camera. He would have been 51 today, Corey Haim. That's all I got, Barrett. You got any other
Mr. Sconces himself, Kerry Williams is 38.
Oh, Kerry Williams.
That was your boy. Also, Jim Harbaugh, my boy. I played with him with the Detroit Lions. Yes, he did play with the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's my boy. And then coach that quit on me at the Detroit Lions, Bobby Ross.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, so it's his birthday, so I couldn't believe he quit on us, man. But hey, it is what it is, man.
Wow. I forgot about that. I do. I forgot he rolled.
That's about it.
Okay. All right. Let's do some movies here. We do have some good ones. Good Morning Vietnam with Robin Williams came out this day, 1987, which was he was so good. And it was a perfect role for him. He played, a DJ. It was based on a true life story. Adrian Crownhour, I think it was the guy's name.
Oh, it was a true story? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. It was a true story. Yep. Wow. Son of a Woman with Al Pacino and Chris O'Donnell from 1992. One of my favorites, Dirty Harry with Clint Eastwood, where he just took no bleep from anybody, was just blowing fools away left and right in that thing.
The Magnum, didn't he?
With his Magnum, the Magnum caliber gun. Up in the Air, which is a George Clooney movie. Not bad.
Loved it. Up in the Air, that's the house with the balloons.
Wasn't bad. 2009. Alvin the Chipmunks. I guess they made 100 of these, but there was they called it the Squeakquel. Was made in 2009 with Alvin. And speaking of the Christmas time movies, so
you're right.
That's all I got with the movies. You got if you have any other ones, we'll keep
that's it. That's
okay.
It.
All right, let's go back because I know we did a little bit of this during the week, but I want people who didn't get a chance to see that or hear it. I'd like you to tell me how you go about this thing from a game plan standpoint. What do you do? Let's start with the offense because I think there's more intrigue there with Gardner Minshew being the quarterback. How would you attack the Cowboys offensively, Barry?
This is going to be good old-fashioned football, man. Just handing the ball off, coming off the rock, because you don't want to put Minshew in a position where he's going to try to do more than what his skill set offers. Even though he may have functional mobility, he's not a read option guy. In fact, I don't think he's even more of a read option guy than Foles. Foles may be more of a read option guy than he is. RPOs also. Foles could do the RPO because it was either to hand it off, run, or throw a pass. It wasn't the added run if you don't have either one of those that Jalen gives you. So it's a difference. You're either going to hand it off, period, or you're going to throw it, period.
Quick slant.
Then a quick slant, come back, a drag route, whatever it was it was either going to be, handed off, is going to be thrown to you.
Okay.
It wasn't a sense that, all right, I can keep it and go run. He's not that type of guy. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they're going to put, Gardner Minshew in the same position. So it's either hand it off, throw the ball, or it is what it is. You're just going to throw the ball away.
Okay.
So you're just going to go conventional, hand the ball off, let's go, 3 yards in the cloud of dust.
We both talked about we're fine with. Should have seen it a little bit last week. Okay.
I would have been fine with that when it comes to, Jalen Hurts also.
Right.
Just handing it off. You have a 1,000-yard back, a Pro Bowl back with an offensive line that has three Pro Bowls, and an alternate on it. Was it two alternates? Was it two alternates? Samalo and
on the line. Yeah.
So everybody, you got 3 Pro Bowlers, starting Pro Bowlers, and then 2 alternate Pro Bowlers. Why not let those guys go to work? Hand it off. You know what I'm saying? So on the offensive side of the ball, then don't downplay the fact that AJ Brown and Smitty could have great days also, because he can get the ball out there. He is a very capable arm. He can make some things happen. He can actually get those guys in great positions, throwing comebacks. I don't know about his deep balls, but his intermediate to short passes are very, very good. And we all know he already has chemistry with Dallas Goedert. So the offense will be fine. The offense will be able to score points, and they'll go out there and they'll dominate that defense. Like they said, they've had what, 1 sack, 1 or 2 sacks in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I don't see that number going up tomorrow. I don't see it going up tomorrow
because you think he'll get it out quickly. Okay,
yeah, he'll get it out quickly, and I think they'll control the line of scrimmage. When we go over to the defensive side of the ball, it's all about stopping Pollard and Elliott. If we can stop those two, the offense will take care of itself. Defense will take care of itself. You won't have to control offense because, yes, CeeDee Lamb's a good player, but I like our DBs way better than I like CeeDee Lamb. Yes, CeeDee Lamb's a Pro Bowler, but we got a Pro Bowler on our side also. I think he and Bradbury and Avonte Maddox will be key matchups, who's ever on them. This will be a good day for the defense, and I think that they will to shut that offense down, put them in a position where they're going to be passing the ball more so than running the ball, because we're going to score more points. We're going to get up on them, which will force them to throw the ball, and they will take that run option out of it, and they'll just be straight passing the ball. That's the key. We got to make them uncomfortable with running the ball, stop them from running the ball, get them in 2nd and 3rd and long, and that way our boys can eat up front. Because I truly believe this will be a dominating sack game for the Eagles. This will be, upwards of like 6 sacks.
Wow.
Yeah, upwards of 6 sacks against Dak Prescott. Just because, Parsons ran his mouth too much. That's exactly why this is going to happen, because from a defensive standpoint, and a guy that's right nipping at his heels is Hassan Reddick. Feels though he's just as good a player as he is, as Parsons is.
Right.
So he wants to go out there and dictate tempos and show you I am a dominant player also. So that's just my game plan, man. Just get back to old-fashioned football. And hand the ball off.
The beauty is you have a team that can do that. You're not a one-dimensional team that can't, it's not like you go into this game like, man, the Eagles can't run the ball, or they can't do this, they can't do that. We know how effective A.J. Brown is in that slant game and the yards after catch, which will then open things up for, Dallas Goedert and or Devontae down the field.
Yep.
I think you're going to see a lot of that. It wouldn't surprise me in the least, but yeah, it could be a workhorse kind of game for Miles. That's for sure. And then we know they like to get Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell involved too. So I'm sure they will get their touches also. Do you see any run blitzing? Do you see any kind of increase in what the Eagles generally do, or does Jonathan Gannon stick with what's gotten him here?
He stays true to form. He's gonna try to go out there and stop him with the 5-man front. A bare front, cover the guards up and cover the center up. You have 2, and they play wide 4 eyes instead of 3 eyes. They play wide 4 eyes, meaning that defensive tackle is right in between the center and right between the guard and the tackle. Right there in that gap, he kind of twists his ass out, is up there on the tackle, right. And his nose is head up his nose is right there on the shoulder of the guard. So when he gets to the field, he can swim up the field, get that gap, close that gap, and be able to maneuver from that place. Still getting up the line, getting up the field to get pressure on that line to stop that penetration. Because if you get penetration, you don't care who's running the ball. You got to make them start and stop. You're more apt to stop the run play when you're doing that. And you got to get up on Pollard fast, because once he gets going, he's got the speed to break it. He definitely has the speed to break it.
Do you go at Parsons the same way you went at him last game? Because they want to counter that, right? They know what the Eagles did last game. Or do you change things up with him?
You're going to change it up. You're just going to hit him in the mouth, run straight at him. Wherever he is, you get to the line, you look for Parsons. There's Parsons right there. You check the line. You check the call right to him. Put a hat in his face.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Drive block him. That's what you want to do. Drive block him. Show him that you're not going to be able to mess with a 360, 370-pound offensive tackle that's 6'8". Once he puts them hands on him.
Well, I'll tell you too, and we talked to Todd Archer a little bit earlier, who covers Cowboys for ESPN. They have a decent amount of injuries. Like, the focus is all going to be on Jalen Hurts not playing, but the Cowboys, especially on the defensive side, they're a banged up bunch, man. No Van Der Esch.
Yep. Yeah. And they said that Parsons, hadn't been practicing full practice.
He's been sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and Armstrong's a little bit banged up too.
Yep.
Who's been their guy behind what? He's second behind Parsons, right? In terms of sacks.
He has 8. He has 8
big
sacks.
Deal.
That's a huge deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. Like Saturday, tomorrow in general is going to be fun. And if just to give you the schedule one more time, most of the games are being played on Saturday with, Sunday being Christmas. You have the early games are Buffalo at Chicago, New Orleans at Cleveland, Houston at Tennessee, Seattle at Kansas City, Giants at Vikings, Cincinnati at New England, Detroit at Carolina, Atlanta at Baltimore, Washington at San Francisco. The 4:25 game is the Eagles at the Cowboys. And then the night game is Vegas and the Steelers. And that brings us to, on this date, Barrett, 50 years ago was the Immaculate Reception from Franco Harris. Sadly, we lost Franco a couple days ago. They're retiring his number. I don't know why that hasn't been retired long ago. I don't
long time ago.
Jeez, man. But his number is going to get retired, and they're going to honor. That's why they're playing that game on the Saturday night. So it's a nice thing, but it's crazy. That was 50 years ago. Again, one of the biggest plays in football. But Chris D, thank you. She's got to jump. Whole chat room. Happiest of holidays. Safety your loved ones. Same to you, Chris, and same to everybody out there.
Yeah, same to you.
So let's so Barrett, the way this is shaking out, we're off on Monday, but we're back on Tuesday. So we'll recap everything on Tuesday. But want to thank and it's not like it's the end of the year. We'll be back with you next week. But we want to wish everybody the happiest of holidays. Hope you get to just spend some time with the family, just chill a little bit, reset, regroup a little bit.
Go grab you some White Castles.
Go get some White Castles.
Good to go.
But we do appreciate you, man, and thank you for making our show so much fun over the course of the last 8 months. It's been around, whatever it's been.
Yep.
It's been awesome. So we thank each and every one of you and wish you all a happy holiday. That's for sure. And same for Gunner too. Derek's enjoying the day with his wife, who's celebrating her birthday, and then the Christmas holiday over the weekend. Barrett, Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Too, bro. You too, man.
Enjoy it. And just get a chance to chill after tomorrow. We'll do our thing tomorrow, but that's okay. Like all things considered, at least it's not a night game, and we have Christmas off, man. That's the way I look at it. It's all good.
Me too, bro. Me too.
It is all good. All right. I want to thank Xander and wish Xander and the Krause family and Joe Krause, our boss, a very Merry Christmas. That's for sure. And our guy coming up next, Dan Cilio. I want to wish him a Merry Christmas. And
the family. Yep.
Yeah, and don't move, man, because Dan's coming up with the National Football.
And he's firing all cylinders. He said he wouldn't give Jalen Hurts over a 3-year deal. Get in his ass about that. Make sure y'all get in his ass.
Okay, all right. So you guys do that. You guys take care. And again, we'll be back with you on Tuesday, same time. We're with you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yes, everybody.
3 hours of power. For Barrett Brooks, I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take. Have a great holiday, everybody, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Ram starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense